Excuse me, it is now 5:30. Let's start the Hermosa Town Board meeting, Tuesday, April 28th. The agenda says regular meeting, but it should be a special meeting. Hold on, sir, at 5:30. So let's do a roll call. Kramer?
Yes.
Ferguson?
Here.
Kuntz here, Service?
Here.
Matheny?
Yes.
Like to thank everybody else for coming here today. So please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. I have a statement to make real quick. So tonight, we must begin this meeting in a spirit of forgiveness. The events at the end of last week's meeting hurt the town, and we must learn to interact with each other with grace. And everyone in this room tonight, including myself, has room for improvement in this department. So I'd like to request a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. With that being said, we are going to adjust the meeting format. Public comments will be heard during the section of the meeting for public comments. Please raise your hand and come to the podium after being recognized by the chair. The SDCL for disturbing a meeting is at 22-8-35. And for obstructing a meeting, it's 22-11-3. So due to the nature of our previous adjournment, I'd like to make a motion that we enter back into the motion in progress. Do I have a second?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second. Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded. We are under the motion from the last meeting where we left off, which is terminate access to Black Hills Recovery Inc. Or sorry, terminate access to town property and resources by Black Hill Recovery Inc. Sorry. So let's reconvene the discussion.
First off, Mr. Chair, I just want to say I appreciate your decision to handle that. It was kind of something that I think some of us were concerned of how to re-adjourn the meeting and get back on track. Beyond that, I don't.
May I respond to that?
Yeah.
And so the reason why I decided to do it this way is because we technically adjourned the last meeting and we didn't recess it. So that meeting is over. Now, I was looking, doing some research, and when that happens, all the items that are on the agenda basically go into an automatic postponement mode. Okay. And so we're going to have to address those as well, but we do have a motion on the floor and it's been made and seconded. And so let's get back to discussion. Thank you.
I don't have anything to say about the motion that we were discussing, terminate access. I feel like Joan's comments were very gracious and remorseful, and I feel for her. And I appreciate the town newsletter. I want to keep it going. And I know that people that come to visit in the summer really enjoy it. And I think it's an asset to the community, and one that I'm proud that the town office helps to make happen. So on this particular motion, I'd have to decline.
Okay.
I don't feel that the newsletter has anything to do with what we're talking about.
The terminate access to town property, we're on 5A.
I realize where we're at.
Actually, we're in between 1 and 2, and due to the unusual nature of what happened at the last meeting, we're doing some things a little bit differently this evening. So Donna, would you like to continue?
Well, yeah, Black Hills Recovery does not have anything to do with Jones newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Well, yeah,
How do you figure they do?
The newsletter, along with Neighborhood Watch, is underneath the 501c3 of Black Hills Recovery.
Hmm.
Always has been, always.
Okay, so then let me ask you this question. So Black Hills Recovery Network seems to have money. Why is the town printing for the newsletter?
Well, it was always before, let me rephrase that. Is it all right if I? Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, because the town information as far as the, elections, water restrictions, water rate increases, all of those kinds of things, the newspaper publishes for free. And that is why. The newsletter, excuse me, yeah, make that clear, the newsletter. Along with the town update, if it's wanted. So,
So I guess then I have another comment. It's kind of taking away from our finance officer and the assistant with time that they have to spend to print this newsletter and get it all ready.
Mhm.
And the town is paying their wages for that. So that's another thing that's coming out of the citizens' money to pay for that.
And it is partially paid out of the BB&B funds. Terry, is that
Correct,
correct? What is the portion?
5%.
5%, not much. So.
Okay, Aaron, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, so the past is the past, right? If I could have a moment, I wanna think here. I would like to make a motion to amend current motion to the following. Upon reimbursement of town expenses for the March and April issue of the Hermosa newsletter, and under 6 months of review prior to printing by the Board of Trustees, that Black Hills Recovery may continue utilizing services as is by the town.
I second that.
Okay, so that was a motion to amend.
And if you'd like me to get them,
Let it be read back.
Okay, so the amendment was,
Now the whole motion, please.
the original motion, or you want the
replaces
original?
entire motion. This amendment replaces the entire.
Okay, so it's not an amendment then, it's
The amendment effectively
a replacement.
completely replaces.
Okay, thank you.
Usually when that happens, we need to let the motion fail and then make a new motion. But since we're kind of in limbo here, I'll allow that to happen this time. So. Yeah, so do we have any further, are you?
Did you want to read it?
Yeah, so
Okay, upon reimbursement of town expenses for the March and April newsletter, and under a 6-month review, prior to printing, is it a board,
By the
board?
Trustees,
by the Board of Trustees, Black Hills Recovery may continue utilizing services,
town services.
town services. Okay.
So, yeah,
Linda,
And do we know what that cost is?
Be the cost of the paper, you'd have to figure I mean, our printer is leased, so we get so many copies with it every month. I don't think we've gone over by paying that, so.
And it all part of the wages.
And then our
also.
wages, yeah, I mean, I'd have to figure that out.
Okay, do we have any further discussion on the motion? Mr. Service?
Yeah, so it really is something that seems, as I look through the newsletter's history, seems to very rarely come up. And only really prior to elections to where there seems to be some contention around the newsletter content. The last two issues were problematic, as Joan said herself. We can't let it slide. It's a 501(c)(3) forbidden from participating in political campaigns and so on. We do need to protect the liability of the town, because if the town is printing it, we're kind of complicit in whatever is going on. But at the same time, we do need to move forward. And I think 6 months of having a look at things before they're printed to make sure that the board is given the chance to make sure there's nothing in there that would negatively reflect on the town. I think that's a fair plan.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Linda?
I would suggest that we move this to the next meeting. I think it's fair to ask for an exact cost on that before anything's taken care of. So just to take this to the next meeting and have those figures available for them.
Are you amending the amendment then?
No, I don't know.
Okay,
And that is my reasoning why. I think that it should be tabled until the next meeting.
Would you like to make a motion to table until then?
I can now, if you prefer it now, that's fine. I would make that motion.
It's up,
Yes.
it's up to you.
Well, there's a motion on the floor, so.
Right. I guess we're too late for that, so. All right, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstaining.
Okay. So we have 2 ayes and one abstaining, so the motion fails. Okay, so call for changes. Again, we're kind of in a limbo a little bit. So I recognize that most of the automatically postponed items that I mentioned earlier from the last meeting have been added to this agenda. Thus, I make a motion to remove the following items from postponement, which are the approved baseline testing for fog, approve the application to DANR for expansion of the WWTP discharge permit to include fog limit, and dismiss Anthony T. from Office of Town Engineer. So do we have a second?
I'll second that, but you're gonna have to tell me what numbers they're under here.
Yep, we're kind of, so what we're doing is we're getting caught up from last meeting. We had some items that basically the whole agenda up to the point that after the point that we finished at the last meeting, went into automatic postponement. And so some of those items didn't get added to this agenda. And so I'm just requesting that the board, how did I word that, remove these items from the postponement, therefore kind of taking them off of our plate.
Did we second that motion? Okay.
Okay, yes, sir.
We voted on the amendment for the last motion, but not the original motion. There was a motion on the floor when we adjourned the meeting. We had a motion to amend that motion that was on the floor, but we never acted on the actual motion that was still left open from the last meeting
Which one was that?
to terminate access by Black
Oh,
Hills
I
Recovery.
thought yours was a replace.
Yeah, that's
That
what you
was,
said.
that was a replacement, and it was an amendment, and you voted it, it got voted down, so that original one is still
So you're just,
hanging.
you're calling for a new, a vote on that one.
Well, hold on though. Technically, it was a replacement by the wording of the motion. But if the board feels we should revisit that and consider that replacement an amendment, then I guess we can go back to it and vote on that one too. You guys okay with that? All right, let's just go back to it then. So we'll go back to that motion, which is terminate access to town property and resources by Black Hills Recovery Inc. So we'll enter the discussion period for that motion. Would like to begin. Just like to go to a vote then?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's vote on the original motion then. So all those in favor?
What was the original motion?
So the one I just read, I'll read it again. It is terminate access to town property and resources by the Black Hills Recovery Inc. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2 ayes, all opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. 2 ayes and 3 nays, motion motion fails. Okay, thank you for pointing that out, Aaron. So we're kind of in the middle of a motion in progress due to that little bit of administrative housekeeping. And that motion is I'll reread it since we kind of jumped around. And it is, I make a motion to remove the following items from postponement, which is approve the baseline testing for fog, approve the application to DA&R expansion of the wastewater treatment plant discharge permit to include the fog limit, and dismiss Anthony Theodoro from Office of Town Engineer. So we are in discussion period for this one. And so I know when Linda and when I submitted the agenda for Linda to approve, I know that I didn't feel that these items warranted any discussion at tonight's meeting. So that's why I did not put them on the agenda for tonight. Yes, sir.
Just to clarify, approved baseline testing for FOG, that is understood to mean fats, oils, and greases.
Yes, sir.
Approved application to DNR from expansion of WWT discharge permit to include FOG, fats, oil, and greases limit. It looks like both of those items are tied to the TIF project plan, by my understanding, which is tied to the TIF that's been referred. So really, these need to be, if they're going to be addressed, they need to wait until after the TIF is no longer suspended,
Okay.
right?
That's not my understanding of them. And so I know that the project plan does it does pertain to that, but we do have need to do testing for fats, oils, and greases outside of that. So and I don't believe that we do need a board approval to do this baseline testing or to approve the application, which is why I removed these items. So do we have any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Aye.
Okay, 3 ayes, 2 nays, motion carries. Okay, thank you. So I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda we have in front of us here. I'd like to remove 5A just because we just addressed that. I'd also like to add an item 6A, which is the engineer's letter to the Custer Chronicle.
6A, 6D.
Yeah, and then all the other ones cascade.
So what, could you fill us in a little bit on what's this letter to the Chronicle?
Yeah, actually, so we do have a motion on the floor, and does anyone like to second? I can
I'll
address that.
second that for you.
Okay. So Linda seconds.
Are those the only changes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And it's basically has to do with,
Adding
we had a
A to this
meeting
one.
not too long ago where there was an exchange between from the attorney to the engineer, and at the time, I didn't feel that it was prudent for that discussion to continue. It seemed like it was starting to get a little bit heated, and so um, the engineer asked that we extend him the courtesy of providing a rebuttal to the things that were being said during that exchange. And so that's what the letter was for, and also he's going to submit that to the Custer Chronicle.
Without approval? Whose approval? Well, I mean, what's he gonna say?
It's his deal, not mine. I don't know what he's gonna say.
I
I
mean,
mean, that's,
so do we have any?
Well, I don't feel Mr. James is here to back himself up. And, which I think is kind of irrelevant.
Right, and really, I think that exchange was, I don't think that we need to continue that exchange, if you know what I mean. We just have one side then the other, and then we can move on. That's kind of my understanding of it, so. We do have a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? We're not taking any public comments or questions until the public comment section. Thank you. So, okay, seeing none, all those in favor of to amend the agenda, please say aye.
I,
Aye. All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
2 nays. Okay, motion carries. So we are on to 3. So thanks for bearing with us. That was kind of a little bit confusing, but anyway, so roll call voting for any agenda item that may have conflict of interest, just to try and cover our decisions should there be possibly a conflict of interest. And so now we're on to 4A, which is define the scope for the general issues for the alternate attorney review. So anyone like to begin that one? I know we talked about a few things last time. We discussed conflicts of interest, harassment of board members, and we do have review key meeting minutes, but upon further deliberation, I think those would be tied to the review of any of the other business that we're going to have him look at. So I don't think that the review key meeting minutes should necessarily be an item by itself.
So harassment was the letter that kind of outlines the law. That's what I was assuming that harassment was, that we were talking about creating a letter that we could send out if there was harassment of board members or staff, that would just let somebody know that they were stepping over that law. So I'm assuming that that was what that was about and nothing more or less.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
so do we want to write the letter and then get his feelings on it? Or,
I thought that I would write the letter and then present it at that work meeting that we decided to postpone. And I could still do that and present it to the board, and everybody could review it then if that's what you want. It would save us money.
yeah, rather
Right.
than having the attorney write it, it saves money if we write it and then he just approves or disapproves.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm good with that.
Okay, I'm okay for Trina to write that letter as well. Do we need to talk about conflicts of interest or anything like that? I think one of the points that was brought up last time was that the conflicts of interest, the responsibility for determining conflicts of interest lies with the individual that of which the conflict is with. So it follows the SDCL where it's up to the individual that may have the conflict to disclose it. And I think that point was brought up at the last meeting. And so at this time, I'm okay with just letting, or I don't know if letting is the right word, but and for Trina to write the letter for us that we can review at a current work session. So I don't know if that, I don't think that requires board approval for that. So
Yeah, and anybody could write if we
Sure.
can compare.
Compare,
It's totally.
yeah, that's a good idea.
put them together.
Okay. Alrighty. So very good. So is everyone, everyone on the board, or you guys satisfied with that item? So do you think there's any other issues that we need to address?
Not at this time, and I think that's just another thing that requires approval when we have other items we want done, we'll approve them at the time.
Right, okay. Yeah, yes, ma'am, I see your hand, but we're not taking public comment until the public comment section.
I can wait.
All right, thank you. So with that, let's move. So 5A, we already took care of. That was the continuing motion. So let's go to 6A, which is the engineer's letter to Custer Chronicle.
So, had an interesting conversation with Jason Ferguson, the editor of the Custer Chronicle, in relation to, something that was published late last week, or last week. And the code of ethics of the Society of Professional Journalists came up. And there was 5 issues that I raised with Jason, relating to 3 topics in the article where it mentions me by name. The first thing is that ethical journalism should be accurate and fair, and he agreed with that. He also, you should, speaking the truth, you should consider the source's motives. And he also thought that was reasonable. To avoid undercover and other surreptitious methods of gathering information, that's something to be avoided. And then to minimize harm. And, we're supposed to treat, the journalists are supposed to treat all sources as human beings. And, everyone deserves respect. So he agreed with all those things. And that's why he acknowledged that if there were mistakes made, that they would be promptly corrected. And I really appreciated his dedication to journalistic integrity, and that he asked me to speak so that way, both sides of the story could be reported and it would be balanced. Now I'm gonna kind of do things in a little reverse order from that article. And I'm gonna start with, like the chairman said, the comments that the town attorney Scott James had said, when he was having, his review done by the board. So, I really just like to, we're both professionals, and I'd like to reverse the roles and say that I was in that role, I was in that position, and I was being, the board was asking for another engineer to be involved, and, that, there's things that maybe I'm not, an expert in, and so that was the need initially for another engineer. And then, reviews that I was done, the board wanted a second opinion, right? And then Mr. James, I would say, well, the reason that the board's doing this to me is because of the town attorney. The town attorney doesn't like me. And that's why the board is asking another engineer to come on board. And that's why the board is asking for a second opinion, because Mr. James yelled at me and he doesn't like me. That's why you're doing this. That's what happened. It's just in reverse order. It doesn't sound right when you reverse the roles, right? And so that's what I wanted to say regarding that. And I think that both of us being professionals, it's important for us to maintain our professional decorum and our behavior, because we have both a lot to lose. We have licenses, and for someone for me to say something against him is not good. It hurts him professionally. For him to say something about me is the same. And that's really all I wanted to say about the town attorney's comments that got reported in the Custer Chronicle, and then I was deprived of my ability to reply back, in which case I would have put a human face on that and said, you know, we all got to live together, right? So that's the one item. The second item is, and this is where the issue about, you know, undercover and surreptitious methods be avoided. So a phone interview was conducted with a former subcontractor of mine, Dan Fife, and him and I worked together with Neil and Mark at another engineering firm back in 2023. So we all knew each other, and you know, he was always under the supervision of another engineer, John Weary's up in North Dakota, because he's from Fargo, North Dakota. So that was always the relationship we had in that company. It was in another office, and we were working together on some projects. He went out on his own back in October of 2025. And so ATAC gave him the opportunity to work with us on the FEMA grant, right? And, you know, Mark and I had worked with him directly. Mark's my designer. So we had experience with his work. Obviously, he'd been reviewed by another engineer, John Weary, but still, you know, we said, let's do this and give him a chance. When he learned about some of the small town issues going on here, being that he was doing progress meetings with us, it was curious that he wanted to listen in and learn more about it. And I just thought that was weird, because I want to get out of here as soon as I can. So I was like, why do you want to stay around? But okay. But you know, when that was going on, he was obviously having some issues, some personal issues. He was expressing those issues with me, and you know, maybe I wasn't sensitive enough to those issues, and it upset him. But he blew up the day before Good Friday on John Burkhart, when he was trying to install software that helps us back up files for this long project. When it's a FEMA grant, it's 20 months long. We need to back up files. We need to make sure everything's secure. And I think he was carrying some angst or some issues, and blew up on John. And I called John. I said, you get everything sorted out with, it wasn't just him. He was installing on Neil's computer and on Mark's computer as well. So we were getting everything backed up. And he said, well, he blew up on me and, you know, refused to back up files and that type of stuff. So, you know, I kind of let him cool down. I said, call me the next day. And the next day, which was Good Friday, he told me he was still upset. He decided to quit. And, you know, I said, all right, you know, then that's it. And I had no idea why, at that point, he would still want to continue to introduce himself in the town's business and in the business of the grant. He showed up, he drove all the way from Fargo, North Dakota, to our meeting here in Hermosa on April 15th and sat in the front of the audience. And I don't understand why anyone in a profession like we are would do that. I wouldn't do that to Benish's clients or KLJ's clients or any of my former employees' clients. It's just not something we do as professionals, you know? And so that's what I have to say about that. I think that he's got some issues to work through himself. He is not a professional engineer, so he needs to be really paying attention. I'm not taking any questions. He really needs to pay attention to that if he wants to earn his professional engineering degree, because we have to go through a code of, you know, an ethics test. And so hopefully that was a one-off deal that, you know, he's younger than me, he's probably 10 or 12 years younger than me. So we all grow up and learn things. So that's all I have to say about Dan Fife. So the last the last issue is kind of a background, because in the Custer Chronicle, we had a discussion, or there was a discussion regarding operations. And so, you know, how this kind of evolved, where ATAC is doing operations of the drinking water system for the town, really starts back in July of last year. Because in July of last year, John and I were at Vanish, and we had a contract for operations. And, you know, the thought process is that our operator at the time needed a backup. He had expressed that, and we worked with that, and we did a lot to try to find all, you know, investigate all possible options that would make sense for the town, for everybody. And then in September, you know, I think our worries came to fruition because he was ill. He had to go to the hospital. His helper was saying all kinds of stuff regarding diagnosis of Alzheimer's, and just it was concerning. So that was how the fall of last year was for us, from our viewpoint, right? And then in November, John and I and Neil and Mark, we all went and formed ATAC. And so the contracts that we had to do, because we run on contracts, right? So I know that there's this special, unique situation out here in South Dakota where we have something called the town engineer. Now, I was the acting municipal engineer in Michigan for 10 towns. None of them we had to discuss, you know, what's that mean? Is it ceremonial? What is it? We never had to do that, right? So, and honestly, I have nothing that reimburses me for that role. So it's pretty much all pain, no gain, right? And so, so that being said, we had to do all our contracts over again, because everything that I do here is based on my contract. It's not just automatic, right? If that was something, if that was the thing, town engineer, it would have been automatic. I wouldn't have to do anything. I'd have a lot less gray hair, because I wouldn't have to rewrite all those contracts. So all of them were approved except for operations. When it came to operations, it was a big discussion, and I'm not somebody that wants to cause problems. I'm here to give you solutions. I've been in that role as solution maker for the last 3 years. And so I retracted my proposal for operations, and I've never retracted a proposal for the town of Hermosa. Actually, I've never done that in South Dakota, right? I haven't done it in years as an engineer. But I retracted it because I saw that it was causing issues, right? It was a debate. It was still being debated, the fate of that, how that would all evolve. And I wanted that to settle itself. But then in February, Chuck resigned. I mean, there's no other thing that you can describe it as happening, right? And I learned that he resigned from Donna. She came up to me and said, "Did you know what happened?" I said, "No, Chuck resigned." Okay, because it was in closed session. So I didn't know it any more than anyone else. So what I've noticed is there is a running opinion, and I have here a page from our illustrious Jerry Stiles, who hired me and was very proud of me for a long time until now, and says that although the actions may be technically legal, as in my operations, being ATAC being both operations and engineering, although these actions may be technically legal, they are not ethical. That's his opinion, right? Hermosa deserves better than that. The town must now decide whether this individual will serve as the town engineer or as a contractor performing operations and maintenance on our water and wastewater system. In bold, he cannot be both. Now, I am not both. I'm a professional engineer. I don't hold a certificate of operations license. John Burkhart does. So we're conflating a company with an individual. And you use the word individual. You're contracted not with me, but with my company. And I think that needs to be very clear. And, you know, if there is some debate, if engineering firms in the state of South Dakota are allowed to perform operations, I'll read to you from Schumacher, Paul, and Knorr, SPN and Associates out of Mitchell, South Dakota, when it talks about their water supply services. At SPN and Associates, we work with public and private entities to meet the challenges of delivering potable water to communities and municipalities around the region. Our engineers, technicians, and operators provide experience and innovation to develop dependable water solutions through a complete range of planning, design, and operational services. You know, locally here, Project Solutions, which is a company based in Rapid City, operates the Sedita wastewater treatment plant in Box Elder, which is where Ellsworth Air Force Base's wastewater goes, where Jerry Stiles used to work. He knows that. So I think we're at a point where, you know, you get too far down saying things without any responsibility for your words. And I can't do that. I can't afford to do that. So I'm a professional engineer, and reputation is an important thing for our profession. So people are careless with their words here. I can't be that. And that's pretty much everything I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you. Did you have a real quick comment, Donna?
Yes,
And
I
then
do.
I
I
think we
think
can
that
move.
was all inappropriate. He badmouthed everybody. Everybody that he talked about, he badmouthed. But yet he doesn't do that, he says. I think that it was not right what he just told us.
Okay, alrighty then. Well, let's move on to 6B, which is approved invoice from King Brown Welding for mounting of the transmission for the wastewater treatment plant of $1,428.57.
I make a motion that we approve the invoice from King Brown Welding for the mount transmission for WWTP for that amount listed, $1,428.57.
Okay, Trina makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any seconds? Is there any discussion on this one? Mr. Service?
What, I know we had already dealt with the transmission platform. So which does this specifically apply to? Because I'm pretty sure we already paid out the welding on the transmission platform. I'm wondering where.
The one we paid.
Yeah, so where exactly this applies.
So
Pedestal and sand modify and install new motor mount in upper corner. Now we have, and that was 1,100. And now we have another 1,400 relating to the same system, but I don't recall ever getting a breakdown of why exactly this would be necessary.
So I believe it's the equipment required to mount the motor and transmission to the platform and also make allowances for the new chain drive that they had to do. So it would be an adjustable mount so that we can adjust the chain tension as needed. Is that correct, Anthony?
Yeah, it was two parts. The original design was two parts. One was to do and I have a video of the chain, the thing that you're paying for, right?
Would you like to
Sure.
play the video and just point out the part that this covers? So everybody is clear on that?
So the platform's that steel piece, it used to be down by the shaft down below. And so we paid him re-weld it and fabricate support for it. And then this part here is going back to that. Okay, so you can see here, there's adjustments. And then we had this new jig up here that slides that back and forth. So that all had to be fabricated. And so there was metal part, metal to be, steel to be purchased. And then he had to weld all that in place and fabricate it. So we bought the drive from York, because York Repair in Michigan was going to repair our transmission. And it was the same price to repair it as to buy one made in America. And so we made the decision, and I brought that to the board, to buy that instead of repairing the foreign one. And then the shaft was fabricated by the fab shop up in Spearfish. And then everything else that you see there that's not blue was King Brown. So, all the keyways, the adjustments, the way that the two plates slide back and forth, that was all fabricated, including all the materials.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Anna?
I thought when we bought this treatment plant, it was supposed to be in working order. How come we keep spending money after money to get it in working order?
So I know in particular on this one, we had to move it to a chain drive for a couple of reasons. One is it's not a rod because it's too big, but what the sprocket down there, the chain is turning on the treatment side. That thing was actually, it would keep breaking transmissions because the guys that came and rebuilt it before we bought it actually tightened everything too much. And
But I thought it was guaranteed to be in working order when we bought it.
yeah, I don't know if there was anything like that, but that's the main reason. And then getting everything up out of the hole, the electric motor and everything like that will also help with just so it won't get it's not sitting in humidity like that all the time. Aaron?
Yeah, so it was, we've heard it many times, but it was never really a fully operational plant where it was. They never really torture tested it enough for things like this to rear its ugly head, but it was the shaft, the rigid mount of a transmission to a shaft with that much inertia. Those wheels are big. You don't want a rigid mount of transmission to a system like that. So that's where the remote mount using the chain came in. And I figured moving it up on the top would make maintenance easier. That system is still going to have some struggles. Will probably need to be addressed within probably a year. But I guess we'll see. Really needs to support all the way across the pit, not just welded to the side of the pit. The tension between the shaft on the transmission and the shaft on the drum is going to cause stress on the welds underneath of that plate. So we're going to need to have that inspected on a regular basis. All the welds that support that plate are going to need to be inspected regularly for potential failure.
I believe also there's a cross or a diagonal member from the corner of the plate to the wall too. So it isn't only just hanging out in space. There is another support there, but it's a good idea to keep on top of that. So do we have any further discussion on this motion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
I'm still thinking.
Okay. We have two abstentions, okay? So, 3 ayes, 0 nays, 2 abstentions, motion carries. Now we're on to 6C, approve amendments to ATAC contracts upon review by Wade Shoots. So I think Linda and I had discussed this, and the original motion was approve Wade Shoots to review below items upon direction from the board, which was the ATAC contract amendments, the Preston situation, and then the general issues, which the general issues were too nebulous, so we couldn't assign those. But I think that was already assigned by the previous motion. Is that
That's
that
the
your-
way I intended it, and I'm sure that's what I said, yes.
Okay, so I think, I'm not sure that this one is required if that's the case, Aaron.
I have two major questions I would like to have answered about this contract. First is its origin, and second, I would be curious. I would be curious if anybody can identify any single term anywhere in this contract that provides any benefit to the town. Because generally, when you sign a contract with somebody, each party gets something, and I wasn't able to find anything in this contract that provides any benefit to the town, which that raises alarms.
Okay, Trina, did you have a comment?
I did compare the original contracts with this one. That was somewhat helpful. I think that, we should table the discussion until we hear from the attorney, since we've already asked the attorney to review it. Because we'll just go around in circles tonight. That's my ask, that we table it.
I second that.
Okay, so Trina makes a motion to table. Donna seconds. So then we get back to, was this one put on this agenda by mistake if we already performed this action at the last meeting? So,
Yeah, we didn't perform this action, and I'm not sure who asked to have it on there. Eventually, we'll have to do this when we hear back from the lawyer anyway.
yeah, I think it would be prudent to do that. However, the motion from last time was approve Wade Shoots to review below items upon direction from the board, which was ATAC contract amendments in Preston situation. When we changed the wording from finance committee to board, then the board actually approved those actions at the same time that we voted on that. And so that's
true.
I was kind of confused about that at first, but
I see what you're saying.
I think the discussion that Linda and I had cleared that up. Anthony, did you have a point to make on this?
Yeah, so there are my contracts. So there's two amendments that are there for the town attorney to review, or town alternate attorney to review. One is related to the minimum number of hours that we spend as operators for the water and the drinking water system. We have a maximum, so we have a not to exceed, that the town doesn't pay any more than that dollar amount, and that equates to hours. But the state would like to see us spending a minimum amount of time of, I think it's an hour and a half a week. And that is all they need. So that is the amendment that is there, is to show that the state that not only are we spending a maximum amount of time, but we're spending a minimum amount of time. There's no change, there's no requirement for more money or funding or anything like that. There's no change, and we've been spending that minimum amount of time doing the operations anyways. They just want to see that it's in there.
So it's a state
It's a state requirement.
requirement or action that they would like to see done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's one of the two.
Well, I don't think we have that particular amendment from the state in our packet.
That's I wrote it and I sent it in. It was in the last. It was like a one pager.
Do we have that outside the packet anywhere? No.
It basically says that we're spending 1.5 hours per week. It's two sentences.
Okay.
We're spending 1.5 hours per week with certified operators, overseeing the drinking water system.
Okay. I think Terry's looking it up right now. I think in order to discuss this thing, I think so we should get a copy of that for everybody just so they can see what you're talking about.
Was it something you sent me?
I sent it, pretty sure I sent it to you.
Mhm.
Okay, I think we'll have to put that one in particular on the next agenda for the next meeting, just so we can have a chance to look at it and then um, see if we can have that one reviewed as well. So would you like to speak on the amendment that's in the packet?
Yeah, so then there is a question on the benefit of the town on your second contract amendment. There is terms and conditions that the town attorney reviews for every one of the ATAX contracts. And so if there's stipulations in terms of breach of contract, then the best thing for the town, if we're gonna do any termination of contracts, is that we clarify how the terminations would proceed. Otherwise, I'll consider the town a breach of contract, and then it would not be beneficial for the town, because I can ask for the full amount according to the terms of the contract. But that's not how things should go. There should be, if there is a termination of contracts, there should be a wind down. It shouldn't be entitled to the entire amount. And there should be a very clear stipulation on that, so that there is it's just, an amicable arrangement to cease doing business on those contracts. And that's it.
Okay,
So that's in the best interest of the town. I do that in the best interest of the town. I could just leave it alone and then enforce the entire terms of the contract. And we can do that too. But I don't think that's the best interest of the town's residents.
okay. All right.
But either way, I don't care. I can do anything but leave it with that.
All right. Thank you for that. Brandon, did you have your hand up?
I would just ask that when we ask the attorney to review this amendment, that they would consider that one of the contracts is grant money, so that might be handled differently than the other contracts.
Okay.
And hopefully it's not an issue.
Okay, so, technically, this is a motion to table. We did have a little bit discussion on the contents of the contract, but I think we already approved it at the last meeting for the review side. So I did reach out to Mr. Schutz after the conversation that Linda and I had on that. And so I will reach back out to him and inform him that we do have one of the contracts being grant money, and is that going to affect the way he looks at this amendment? So with that, we do have a motion to table on the floor, but I think it is invalid for this particular one. So I guess I would recommend we vote this one down and then just do a motion to remove afterwards. So all those in favor of the motion to table? Okay, all those opposed? Aye.
Aye.
1 aye, 4 nays. Okay, motion fails. So I'll go ahead and make the motion to remove from the agenda due to it was a mistake. Linda seconds. Any further discussion on this one? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Approved purchase of manhole lid inserts. I think this may be something that didn't get in the packet too. I may have neglected to send it to Terry on that one. So if we can, do you have it with you?
It was in the old agenda.
Or was it? Okay.
7E.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the budget.
Agenda, I don't think we had anything to go with it, though, did we? We never got an invoice
Yeah.
or any numbers to go with it.
Let's go
It was
ahead.
on the agenda.
It has a budget of $2,500. There's 10 lids.
Okay.
And it's for that line going north. Because that was one of the items that the DANR had asked us to put in.
Okay. So, I guess we can we can consider that tonight. And if the board wishes to see the, what was it? It was a printout of the
Yeah.
cart where you were,
It was just, you buy them online. They're plastic insert. They sit, you take the manhole lid off, sit looks like a tub, set that in, close the lid.
okay. So I'll make the motion to approve purchase for up to $2,500 for discussion.
I'll second that.
Okay. So do we have any discussion on this one? Should you guys like to see the printout first before we do that? Aaron?
Yeah, I would definitely like to see an itemized invoice before
Okay. I believe it's just
or
10
itemized quote.
inserts at approximately $250. But Linda?
Normally speaking, we would approve the purchase, and then the next time the bill would come through, and we'd look at the bill then and either yay it or nay it in a lot of cases. So, I think this is a project that, well, this particular thing should have been done already. And so I'm happy to see it done. And I mean, if you all want to see the invoice first, that's fine, but I personally don't see the need for it. I will complain about it if it's, $3,000 when the bill comes in.
I mean,
Mhm.
just to clarify though, the motion is up to 2,500. So, is there any further discussion on this one? So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. So on to approving the digging grading permit for parcel 09191 for Mr. R. Weller.
So, this came in kind of on, as an emergency. So Mr. Weller, was installing drain tile around his house, because he had been told there's a spring there. And so the drain tile, he's got all the drain tile out, he's installing all that, that was already from the previous application. And then, he shut his water off. And that's when he identified that it's a water leak. That's the source of the water. So he needed to replace his service line from the main to, his house. And that's what this is an after the fact thing. He was doing an emergency repair of that water main break that's been going for a long time. And I told him, when he told me, send me pictures of what he's doing, I said, you need a licensed contractor that's qualified to do that. And so he contacted, I think, Brian Simpson, who then did that work for him, documented it, sent all the documentation to us. I sent out an inspector to review it, and then that's done. So this is sort of a ask for forgiveness after the fact emergency repair that was on a water main service line to his house
Right.
on Violet Street.
Okay. So I guess I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve. Have a second.
I'll second that.
In a second. So I did see that too. After they dug it up and they had to replace the line and everything, I went and looked at it and, I think they did a pretty good job on it. Obviously, Anthony had an inspector go by afterwards to check it out, but I know that we want to frown upon doing permits after the fact. But I think the nature of this one, he was planning on putting in a drain tile and found that the source of the water coming in was actually a leak from his service line. So I think I would recommend approval for the circumstances in the staff report. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. 7B, approved dismissal of approved sign permit for Heartland RV.
I make motion that we approve dismissal of approved sign permit for Heartland.
I second that.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I, after that meeting, I was curious enough that I don't know if I can get this over to it, but it's, the sign is 1.27 miles from the edge of town. So even if our extraterritorial were still in place, it still wouldn't apply. So, there's a little weirdness here where I don't think he paid yet. They paid yet, but they could technically be seen on. It just seems complicated to leave this as a thing, and we should just dismiss it and kind of make sure it's understood that they never needed it in the first place.
Okay, so it sounds like this is an administrative action. We were a little bit too eager to approve it last time, I think. So thank you for bringing this up, Mr. Service. Do you have any other discussion on this one? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the dismissal? Aye, motion carries. Thank you. So 7C, approved setup of billing for commercial out-of-town sewer for the sewer user for the Mud Bog property. And so I believe this was the initial reason why we wanted to look at the fog stuff as well, but guess I'll just go ahead and make a motion to approve.
Do we have any paperwork on
I don't think that we do. I think the idea is that we get the billing set up in there, and then I think obviously the intent is that they're going to hook up to the sewer line out there.
it? Oh,
So, but I do have a motion on the.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, so-
Sorry, I got out of order there.
Yep, okay, Donna, then Aaron.
Well, I thought Mr. Holliworth didn't realize that he had that set up out there. Now all of a sudden he wants to.
It's a bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get another sewer user out of it, so. Aaron?
One thing we need to really look at before we do anything further with this, though, is checking our ordinance. We do need to consider annexation as a component of utilization of our infrastructure. We've been fighting for more annexation for years, and that's about the only tool we have to press annexation. And our ordinances give us explicit permission to do that on a condition of sewer or water use. So I don't think we should do anything more until we at least have a discussion about that, maybe a work session or something, to decide whether we want to take this as an opportunity to actually get something annexed and not just kind of, since it on the other side, right? Because it's also a sewer but no water. I think this justifies a work session.
Okay. Linda?
Well, I would agree. The approval of a setup for billing for commercial and out-of-town sewers, doesn't matter who it's for. We need to figure this out, I think. And so for that point alone, I think a work session is a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen that there could be another, user that would want it from out of town and be willing to pay for the hookup to it, so. Anthony's good.
Yeah,
Just one thing I will say is that we have in-town residential, in-town commercial, out-of-town residential, and out-of-town commercial. So we already have those precedents. So, and the person's not asking for a tap because apparently they were given one years ago. And they're just saying, we're gonna start using it, set us up for billing so you can charge us. Obviously, the discussion of annexation has always been something that I agree with Aaron, that is the way the town can grow. But, I mean, we got East Hermosa water users, we got Dumble Lily water users, North Hermosa water users, we got, and it's definitely all of them then, right?
yeah. So that is an interesting point. So it is commercial out of town sewer, and we do have the distinction between in-town, out of town.
I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know the consumption of the sewer? It's usually based off the water.
Right.
So how are we gonna know what to bill them?
Well, that is what we discussed even for the Preston development way back when we, that we had to figure out a means for that, a way. And I think that's a work session. I think that we have to discuss that. I mean, and how, so, is Dan even here? Oh, Dan?
So since the agenda item is for your property, Dan, would you like to come up to the podium and address the board on this?
What's the question?
So maybe this is just me, maybe it's a woman's mind, I don't know, but I think of sewer going down the sewer. And I guess I'm addressing Anthony as much as I am you. And I'm happy to wash my hands and flush the sewer down the sewer. So I guess you did not, to my knowledge, have any plumbing up there whatsoever, any hookups. So what exactly are you thinking about hooking up? Bathrooms, kitchens, and Anthony, this is just me for anybody, for also the houses, the more water you use, the more flush out the pipes get. So, if we don't know how much water's going in, how do we handle this? And now it's getting pretty deep here. So this is why we need a work session. But
So I'll just say, so one example of an out-of-town commercial user would be, let's say, a trailer park, right? As a commercial entity, we got some outside of town, so one day we might have to know how to deal with that. That becomes a thing. They put a meter on, a master meter. That meter is read just like the water meter is read, and it's a sewer bill. It's easier to do in commercial than it is residential because it's usually a bigger dollar figure that we charge the user. So it helps the fact that we got an extra one to read. He's got to build stuff to connect to the sewer anyways. And so the hope was that he would submit to us drawings or something of what he's intending to do to connect to the sewer. And then we would work with him to put a meter in there somewhere so that we can come in and see how much he's using and then bill him for it.
So when you say meter, you're talking about a sewer meter then?
Yeah.
And that would be how we bill it.
and none of us homeowners in Hermosa actually have it. We don't need it because, okay,
Yeah.
just making sure here.
Yeah, it's the convention for sewer billing is to take the gallons consumed in water and then bill based on the water consumption, assuming that the water coming into the house is going back out in a serendipitous way back to the sewer, right? So, and there's water losses as well, right? But that's how almost everyone in the country bills. But when you have commercial users, it is very common to have a sewer meter.
Okay. And so did you have a question for Dan since he's standing up here?
Well, none of my business, I guess, but I want to know what you're doing, putting in a kitchen or bathrooms or what? Sorry, it really is none of my business.
And I think what my whole plan is, and we've always been for keeping development in the community, and I think the TIF and the situation that was developed over there in a blighted area would have been a good thing for wastewater dump station out there. And so to pull that away and maybe save the TIF in discussion with Deb and I was maybe that we move the wastewater dump station out to the mud farm. That way it's out of the town, it's away from any development for housing, any development for commercial. And we look at a situation where maybe then the TIF would be voted in. And that we could still do a hardware store, we could still do a car wash, we could still do the development of the drive-in down there, and maybe more future development. There was so much negativity on a wastewater dump station there that I'm looking away from that situation and looking in a positive situation to still bring revenue into the community, help offset some of the revenue for the community on their sewer. And yet in another instance, take the full pressure off of the community as far as the housing development and the houses and worrying about costs being hurt through that being stationed down below the housing. So I thought, let's take a look at this. It's out on the edge of town. It's away from the town. It's a good access for semis to be off the highway there and not access right away to the highway. So it's in the research part of it right now. We want to make sure that we can do our billing for that. The mud bog, we still do our porta potties. We have our own well. We don't need the water. And so that's why we were in circumstances of looking at this possibility. If it's a possibility that works, of course, we'll come in with applications, more so. The area that would be used is already annexed. We would not be annexing anything else on the property. And so the portion of that would be a different situation altogether.
So you're saying that this would be put in an already annexed part, so it's annexed into the city already?
No,
No, it is not
we'll
annexed.
use the area where the annexed water sewer lines are. And then where we would access would be on the mud bog property and then come into it.
So the actual business would not be in the town limits. So then the town is missing the revenue from that we would have gotten. Okay.
You'll get the revenue that is going to be generated off the wastewater.
Right.
There's no other revenue that would be gathered from it. So,
Well, business taxes, whatever, but yeah.
and that was a situation even here. If they would have came in the situation here with the truck and the wastewater dump here, the only revenues the town would have experienced is off of the city. Whatever else he would have done, correct, if he had done a car wash, if he'd have done another building or anything of that nature, that's where the revenues would occur. We're not gonna construct any buildings or do anything of that nature.
Okay, Aaron, I see your hand up there.
So where it's to utilize the flagpole, essentially, the pole of the flagpole annexation to draw off of for sewer and water taps to extend to an industrial property not annexed. So burdening our sewer system with an industrial property that we have no zoning or permitting authority over. Sounds like really sketchy situation. Yeah, I think we definitely need to pump this to a work session and get a lot more of those details and think through it before we think about anything like that. Now that it's tied to fats, oils, and greases directly.
That we need to do anyway, whether or not. And so, yeah, I mean, it just is we need to figure this out for all businesses.
Okay.
And
Trina, I saw your hand up
I'm
too.
sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think it's a great opportunity for us to increase revenue because commercial out of town is a lot more expensive than anything else we charge, and so it's a win-win in that way. But yes, work session.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the setup of billing for the commercial out of town sewer user. It sounds like the board wishes to bump to a work session, so we can go ahead and vote on this motion. And then I guess we can just move to work session. Anthony?
Could you put the fog one on the work session with it? Because my concern as the engineer is that if there's wastewater being dumped, that we have, we're working with DANR, which was their suggestion when they came out here and closed out the lagoon project and did the whole deal with our permit, that if we're gonna have, we're moving forward in that direction, that we put limits to protect our system from any discharge. And we know where we're at now, which is the baseline versus the test. So it's a protective measure, the fog limits. It's not allowing something, it's protecting us from something coming in.
Okay, so let's go ahead and vote on the motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
So the motion was to approve the setup of the billing.
Sorry, I thought the motion was to
We don't,
go to a work
I
session.
don't think we
Sorry.
generally do motions to push stuff to work sessions, do we?
No, we
So
don't.
what's the motion on
So-
the floor then?
Like so the motion is approve the setup of the billing for the commercial out-of-town sewer user for the mud bog property. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, one aye, all opposed.
And
I mean,
Okay, I guess I'll say aye or nay as well. So we have one yay, four nays, so motion fails. So let's go ahead. I know we have a work session that, a couple different work sessions that we got bumped recently. So do we have any ideas when a good evening would be for the work session?
I'd say May 12.
May 12th. So Tuesday, is that okay with everybody? May 12th, Tuesday, May 12th. You want to come in here, you want to shoot for 6?
that works for me.
Okay,
So the board meetings on the 10th and the 19th and no. Session is what I.
Yeah.
Not my understanding.
yes, ma'am.
What time?
At 6 PM. Is that okay with everybody?
For the two items.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and do, so we can discuss the fat, oil and grease limit, and then also this item for the, not just the billing, but I guess there's a few different issues that we'll be discussing there, possible annexation, possible, just, however we need to go with that. So anyways. Work session, so we got,
What time did you decide?
6.
6 PM. Yes, ma'am.
This is. So if we don't annex you in, it costs you more per gallon to dump your sewer than if we do annex you in.
Correct,
So the town makes more money.
correct.
Okay, well,
Interesting concept.
yeah, let's move this discussion to the work session, please. We are done with this item on the agenda. So, thank you, sir. So let's move on to,
you need a recess.
Want to do a
It's a little
recess?
warm in here.
okay, let's recess for, I don't know, you guys want to do 10 minutes?
How about 7:05?
Come back 5 after 7. Thank you.
I don't need to attend that one remote.
Okay, right?
It works. I'll join by phone.
Sure.
I think that's fine.
Think over. Concept there.
It doesn't.
I mean, the thing is, we can rescind the project. So I don't think it's objective.
If it's like a team.
We'll have to figure that one out, but we're gonna end up doing something like this, then it makes sense to have that project there.
What's the dollar difference between a commercial in town and out of town? For sewer, yes.
Commercial, out of town is 65, in town is 55.
What's that?
Oh. Thanks, Neil.
55, in town 65 out of town. 55, 55, and 65. So it's 55 for the first 3,000, 65 if you're out of town. And
I mean, I'll get an answer eventually.
$55, 65, and then each $1,000 $4. Oh, yeah. 475 for in town and $9. Oh, $9. About a thing for. Yeah, we're kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna do work session.
I can't even go to my backyard. I can't go outside.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Never shuts up.
That'll be interesting.
Mhm.
We'll have to see what kind of dollars they think they're.
Kind of consumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many gallons they think they'll be getting rid of.
Yeah.
Just getting up.
One extreme to the next. Yeah. Are they lemon bars? Should be.
They're lemon bars.
You like that already?
I do.
Uh-oh.
I don't know why.
You don't? Why do you even make them then?
So I think it's something different.
The shortcake, really.
Uh,
My whole family, my mother's potato salad recipe, the whole family just died for it. Yeah. I refuse to make, I don't like potato salad, so I refuse to make it. And the whole family's kind of pissed about it. Make it yourself. I won't make it. I don't like potato salad. So.
You don't like what?
Potato salad.
Oh, well, my grandson called me Sunday night. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, what do you want? He said, what are you doing next Sunday? I said, well, I don't know. What do you want? Potato salad for about 40 people and fry the steaks. That's funny.
Please.
I knew he wanted something. You can call him. Right. No, we went in last year. I'm not in the world. We go in.
Yep. I like, my mother also made very good coleslaw. That I do. I like, but I want my potatoes with one of these.
No, she's not. Oh, he's not. No, not really.
What do you got, Gary? Very good.
I screwed up on the crust, but I got it down there.
So if there's any questions on his agenda item, he's available. I can any questions they have on the closeout of the original contract.
Oh, right.
Contract for construction. He wanted to be done with the good part of the application before he did his blog. Got all the floor done, it's all epoxy. And he's got to put guardrails up, so he wanted to come, yeah, you can come paint, but he wanted for any tours in May. That was the goal. We'll just do a phone call. It's his retainage. So we've already agreed that he's completed everything. Automatic 10% retainage on everything.
And then the beautification is actually separate budget. Yeah. Yeah, it's, you don't want to have 10 people. People be waiting outside for the turn. We'll let people put their name in the hat and then we'll pull from the name, pull the names out like the lottery. Get their turn. We'll do one coach trophy.
Try to maybe do it once a week.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. Something like that.
We'll judge by the weather. So nicer when it's nice.
You can't.
Raining and
Yeah, nobody wants to go down there.
tracking mud.
The local business. Well, I didn't like that change. Oh, God, we have to get me some hot water. Yeah, there was
That
something
reminds
right
me
here
of
you
the-
wouldn't have to worry.
That we are disagreeing.
So, Terry, did you make those $5?
I got it.
I did too.
Everyone want a chance to stretch.
And I messed up.
I
I messed up on the crush.
I
go to the kitchen.
Well, it calls for confectioner sugar, so I put that in there. Powdered sugar, right?
Right.
And then I thought, I don't have, I went, oh no, that should be regular sugars. So I put the regular sugar in there and then it was like,
My
Oh.
recipe for the crust doesn't say powdered sugar.
it says it's supposed to
Here's
be.
the-
in here. Mhm.
Well, for the crust, yeah.
Yeah,
Did you make another crust, Terry?
I did.
Yours doesn't say powdered sugar. No, it says sugar.
Yeah, so I looked it up, it's like, what is this gonna do? It's gonna, and they said, well, it could just make them harder or, not a little more crumbly. But they didn't, yeah, it has both, it's just probably extra sweet.
Oh,
I don't know,
they look nice and
My
we better
brain.
have one and I'll taste it. Maybe next time I'll try powdered.
well, that's what my recipe called. It.
Huh.
That's what my mother said, too, was powdered.
Mine's hard. Yeah.
Kind of both.
It's both.
Because the sugar makes it harder. Then if it was just, it'd be a lot softer. Powdered sugar makes it a little more, and because did you use regular sugar? That's why.
Oh, yeah.
If they can get a bit answer that I don't know about. Oh, for me, yeah. Well, like I said, I want to know where
Thank you, my dear.
I heard a rumor that the Hunger event is not happening. I said that cannot be. I'm right.
We're out of town when we want to do it. We want to do it when it's the rock show. Because when we had the Huckster down there, some of the vendors said, why don't you do it when it's the rock show? Because us whites have nothing to do with you great. And we had the Huckster vendor fair during the rock show.
So it is correct.
We are not having it. We're gone.
So there won't be one at all this year? Oh, man, okay.
That's okay because we need a lot of volunteers and we only have two.
Yes, I know how that goes.
So it'll be bigger and better next year.
Okay. Well, wonderful.
Jill is gonna have And we got a better place to have the, parts. Not often this road, like
What are you gonna
by
have?
the,
Gonna have a hill?
by, Tom's River, that road. The highway, Aaron said that would be a good one. Aaron and Mark said they would help us this year, and I said, it's too late now. You know, the Christmas carnival I started in September and October, so.
Yes, a vowel.
I guess we should have.
Yes, no, I didn't.
And I
Sure, did you contact that?
What is it? Mhm. Well, he emailed me and I said, oh, well, it didn't get done, so I told him to do this. He's like, oh, a little drama. I said, yeah.
Okay, now, 5 after, so let's continue, please. So we're on to item 8A, Water Department updates. Anthony, do you have any updates for us regarding the Water Department?
Yep, so we did a replacement of the contactor for the Battle Creek well. So that's been running good. We've had our cameras watching all our, pressure gauges and everything and watching that cycle through the auto controls. Obviously all that stuff's extremely old, exposed to chlorine and needs to be replaced. So we're doing we had our, bid opening on Friday, for part 1 of 3 of our, water source improvements. Obviously, we have to go through a whole process and obviously the entire, resolution for the, loan is up for vote. So, but what we're doing is figuring out what those things are actually gonna cost, who those bidders, the successful bidders are, because in our bids, we can negotiate with the low bidder and either do some stuff or all of it or whatever. So we've got to get to that point. And so I submitted we had one bidder for the Madison well and the service of the 2 wells, Keller Drilling. My engineer's estimate was 1.1 million. And he came in at like 1.07 or something. So I was $180,000-$90,000 off. They're really specific items, so it wasn't hard to be close because I broke it down based on, 2-inch conduit, very, very specific stuff. So they put those unit prices in. Everybody knows these unit prices. I've had a couple wells drilled in the last year, so that's where we're at. In that, there's controls for the 2 wells. If you take out or tease out the stuff that would be needed just to keep our system going, it's about $200,000 worth of items in that bid. So I did send a request into the state that if the town opts to take parts of that bid, how does that work? Just to get advice from DANR. So I can give it back to you guys and you guys can make decisions. But we're limping along on the equipment we've got and the pumps we've got and in the water system, water source. We haven't had any distribution system issues, nothing like that. In sewer, we have, and I took it down, but it's also kind of a part of FEMA updates. We completed the inspection of all Ferguson sub. We do need to get that Vector truck repaired. It's $6,500 to repair it. I think that's probably high. I'm trying to see if I can find somebody else that'll be more flexible with, mechanic, heavy, diesel mechanic or whatever that can do that clutch change out. But we don't know where the nozzles are that were given to us by Hill City. So I called you about that.
Yeah.
And Justin Asher up there said that he handed a milk crate with nozzles in it that you put on the jetter head, and that way we can clean the sewer lines. And I don't know where these are. They weren't down there. We took it up to the North Hills, and I really want to just bring it back and do some testing of it because we had the mechanic that gave a proposal or he gave a verbal quote, tightened it. So he, like he was inspecting it and he said, well, I can just tighten this. And he tightened the clutch down. So I said, well, that would be good to bring it back then and see how long it lasts because the Hill City guys said it would back out.
Mhm.
So, if it takes 6 months, maybe every 6 months we could keep tightening it and then save that part that we got if we can get a little bit more life out of it. But I need the nozzles so that I can test the jetter to bring material back, and Ferguson sub really needs it. So.
Okay, Aaron, I see your hand up there.
Yeah, Hill City, they got to the point where they felt like it was at the end of its adjustment and they were having to babysit it, but the nozzles and everything, if I recall correctly, they should be in the maintenance building here, inside the door.
I'll take a look.
Okay.
Last I called, there was a crate full of, and the books are back there on the shelf. But yeah, they should be just inside the door on the left. There may be another piece of pipe or whatever. We didn't get a lot. There are like 3 or 4 different nozzles.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the getter line is a huge concern. It's very old. There's a major safety issue with running it with that jetter line. That's a very old line. They've already cut it several times to deal with cracks and things, but at 2000 PSI, I don't know if you've ever heard of an injection injury, but when you have fluids under that amount of pressure, it makes contact with biologicals, it explodes. Pink mist. Not good. Really need to replace that line before anybody touches that, since it's a huge liability issue for the town.
Yeah, that's a good point, and maybe we could, if we can live with the clutch a little longer, maybe we could reallocate that budget to some new hose instead. I think that would easily cover it. I mean, probably we wouldn't need that much budget for a new hose. Run it out and then cut it, put a coupler, roll it back up.
Okay,
Cool, I'll get those nozzles and we'll try to get it going.
okay. And real quick too, I know earlier today we had an issue with the Fifth and Whitney lift station, but I heard there was an alarm that was going off, but when you guys got there,
Yeah.
What would you guys find?
Yeah, there was no alarm, it was pumped down. We check it weekly, so
What do you think that could be?
maybe the rain and stuff, it could maybe shorted.
Okay.
You know, moisture and stuff can cause the electrical shorts, but
So next time John is inspecting that, could we have him kind of pay attention to the seal and see if we need to do something with that?
yeah.
All right, thank you. Linda?
So Anthony, we've had all this, whatever it's been now, 4 days of rain and snow, which is just an absolute wonderful blessing. We needed it. Everybody around the area needed it. And thank God for it. That brings me to the fact that I just got my water bill, and I had told the office that it would be really high because I was really watering my trees and lilac bushes and grass and everything because it was so dry. There is no problem right now with water, the amount of water that we have in that tank. It puts no pressure on anybody for anybody. If anybody wanted to do like I have done, they don't need to for a while yet, but if it would dry up at this point, there's no problem with people using water to water lawns and whatever have not.
Yeah, you can use water, just, you know, you can get a cold snap. Just be aware of that, keep your hoses off the hose tips, so give it a little bit more time.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure because we had actually mentioned, water restrictions, you know, before this had happened, before we'd gotten this rain. And so I just want to make sure that we're in good shape and
Yeah.
okay, good.
Yeah, we're good.
Riley was afraid that I had a broken meter.
Yeah.
12,000 gallons I used, put it on my yard. So I profited the town an extra $70, everybody. $70 the town got for me watering my lawn. So
All right.
thank you, Anthony.
Well, thank you for that, Linda. So are we done with sewer and water updates, Anthony?
Yeah, just in the sewer updates, John wanted to have, put a lot of the beautification done before he did his blog. He's got all the epoxy flooring done. He's got the guardrails built. He did the downspouts and gutters and, you know, outside siding. And so it's like, I would say he's probably over 75% done with that. And so he's trying to have it ready so that in the month of May, when we've got some better weather, we can start doing tours of the treatment plant and get people put their name in, and then we'll like kind of a lottery system. We'll pick like 5 people out on a nice day. We'll say, hey, we're going to do that and see if they're available. And we'll just go down the list if somebody's not available and put them back in the hat. And that way we can kind of get people in and out of there and they can see what's going on down at the lagoons.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. So Let's move on to item 8C, approved costs of 6-month cleaning in Heartland Hair. I think this one was a tabled item from a previous meeting. So,
I make a motion that we approve costs of 6-month cleaning of Heartland Hair Sewer, based on the budget of the previous cleanings. I forget what that dollar amount was, sorry.
okay,
But
do we have a second for the motion?
I'll second it for discussion.
In this second. Okay. I believe it was in like below 300. That's what it was. So then that presumably it would be about that every 6 months to run that line. Do we have any discussion on that one, Donna?
But you know what the situation is, a hair is going down the drain. I don't care if there's a problem, and it's hair. And she's gonna always have that problem, being she has a hair salon there.
Okay, Aaron?
I don't think we've talked about this as being a result of a line that's serving two different customers essentially, but I haven't seen any drawings or anything to that effect. So with that, I could understand us possibly looking at, let's say, all right, here's house one, here's house two. This one runs down here and this one runs down here and they connect here when they're not supposed to and then go over to the main. I could see us being responsible for this section, but not all the way from Heartland Hair to the main. If that makes sense. I could see us being responsible for the section that's shared, but do we have a clean out where we can access that? Can we clean out the section that's shared without necessarily taking responsibility for all the way from her business location to the main? 'Cause really, I mean, it's not, so
Yeah, that's
without
a good point.
saying it, that it is a main, we're almost acting like that section of the line that leads to the joint of the other two properties is being treated to an extent as a main.
Okay, so
In a way.
basically what you're saying is we need the actual, we need to see this on paper or on the computer or whatever. It
Yeah.
needs to be redlined and we need to see where they're hooked up and okay, I see your point on that. That's a good point.
Right? Because I mean, if that's, are we paying for a massive amount of line when in reality we're only responsible for 10 feet of it?
See what he's saying, Anthony?
So, I'm sorry.
My understanding is that the distance from the Heartland Hair clean out to the other connection you're talking about is not very far. Anthony, do you recall how far that would be? The distance from the Heartland Hair clean out to where the other service line comes into that service line before it goes to the main? Are we talking
I
about
would say,
80 feet or something?
yeah,
100 feet?
because, it's two setback lengths plus maybe twice that. So 50 to 80 feet.
Okay. So, I mean, and as far as cleaning out that line goes, so do we know if there's a clean out that's on or near where the second service line comes into that service line?
Yeah, there's a clean out in the house, the house that's connected to the main. And then there's a clean out as it comes out of the Heartland Hair.
Right.
Clean outs there.
And so what would be the difference in price, do you think, between going from one clean out to the main versus the other clean out to the main?
Zero.
So I think that was what Aaron's point was.
Probably no difference.
But
Because it's kind of a per visit deal. They're coming from Rapid. So
okay,
they charge like a set rate. It's all their time driving here and driving back.
right, okay. All right, well, thanks for clearing that one up.
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a creative way to look at it for sure. Aaron, did you have a?
And the context on the motion, it's costs of every 6 months. Semi-annual cleaning is what we're looking at. I mean, is there a reason, do we have anything saying that we do need it every 6 months, or could it be annual, if anything, or could we just maybe, just to be safe side, do schedule 6 months at one cleaning in 6 months and look at and see how the results of that are before we turn this into a recurring thing in perpetuity? I
Yeah,
don't know
so
if we want to take on responsibility forever.
Right, and we don't really know the last time it was done, right?
Right.
And so could we get away with annual cleanings? I mean, so I think his point is we can do the first 6 months, see where we're at there, and then see if we could get by with doing annual or maybe even longer periods. Linda?
And exactly what was taken out. I mean, the Roto-Rooter or whatever will tell you what they've, what the clog was. And this just kind of goes with what Donna says. I mean, is it, the hair, 100% hair, 50% hair? So maybe a little more information on this. I don't agree with, I think it should be done, yes. I just think we need a little more information about how often it had to be done and what actually was clogging it.
But on the second tool, you do it for one.
I disagree with you because this is because there's two on one line and it's not supposed to be that way. There's only supposed to be one per line. And that is the problem. I mean, she might have, we can't prove that she wouldn't have the problem. See what I'm saying?
There should be something more on the line, or the guy that come down and get it should have a record of what they took out of it.
Absolutely, they should, yes.
And I can't believe it wasn't wrote on the bill.
And maybe it was, so.
One thing I would say is if you're making a commitment to a cost for maintenance on a service line like that, shared service line, you might want to talk to the business owner, the property owner and say, would you be willing to do like a special assessment to be done with that? And maybe that way, at least there's an end to that, the light at the end of the tunnel, instead of just in perpetuity, you're cleaning that shared line. And get a dialogue with them and see if they'd be willing to do that, and then instruct your town planner to help set up a special assessment for it.
Good plan.
And just to clarify, with that special assessment, would the purpose of that be so that the town could kind of put a new sewer line, a service line from Heartland Hair to the main?
Just give her a tap, yeah.
Right. And then the special assessment would pay that back.
Yeah, she'd be paying it, but
Right.
basically it's in their back.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so a lot of good discussion there. Where do we want to go with this motion?
I'd like to call for a vote.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote on approving the cost of 6 months cleaning of Heartland Hair. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay.
Yeah.
Nay. Okay, motion fails. Looks like we have some alternatives that we want to consider before we take a step on there. And then again, too, this was just done, so we don't have to make a decision right away in order for her service line to be cleared. So, okay, let's move on to 8D, approve replacements of the 6 remaining residential booster pumps. And this essentially, what this is to preemptively replace the Grundfos Gala 2 pumps, which are the company and style of pump that are nearly guaranteed to leak. And so, I know myself personally, when I run across things like this in my own life, I just go ahead and replace it. To me, it's like replacing, if you have an issue with your car on one side, you replace the other side as well, rather than wait for it to break. But, this is a board decision. So I figured I'd bring this to the board. Right now, we're looking at about 2,500, just shy of 2,500 per pump to do that. So if the board didn't want to replace these pumps, then we could just wait until the Grundfos Gala 2 starts leaking wherever it happens to be installed. Some of them are inside the living envelope of the house. Some of them are installed in the crawl spaces. And so it's, at the end of the day, it looks like we are responsible for those pumps. So anyways, I'll let the board decide what they want to do with that one.
I make a motion that we approve replacing the 6 remaining residential booster pumps for up to $2,500 each.
Okay. Ready to make some motion? Do we have a second?
Second for discussion.
Okay, Donna seconds. Okay, I kind of introduced the topic. Would you like to introduce this discussion? Anybody? Donna?
Well, okay. I forgot what I was gonna say. That's a little bit of old age. Damn. Oh, I know what I'm gonna say. So what fund is this money coming out of to pay this?
I believe it's coming out of water. Is that right, Terry? Anthony?
So we have 3 parts, actually, don't let me forget, I got plans and specs in my truck, the part 3 that's out to bid tomorrow. And that changes the pipe work up on the top of the hill here where the 2 tanks are to upgrade that booster station so that you don't need those pumps. I couldn't get everything. The state wouldn't allow us to buy booster pumps or the control panel. They would allow us to take the undersized pipes that go into that dry pit. So it's basically built like a room underground. And there's 2-inch lines going into that room. So these neck down outside in the dirt. So we dig out, go back to where it's, 4-inch and come in with 2 bigger pipes. And then we just put a spool piece in, which is a straight piece of pipe that we can remove easily. And then your idea of doing a fundraiser or doing something to get drum up the money for booster pump. I mean, we're probably talking like in the $30,000 to $40,000 range for some big booster pumps and a control panel that then solve that problem. So, another reason why it's super important that we do the upgrades.
Okay, Linda?
About how long would that take? I mean, if we can do that, how long will that take?
The change out,
Yes, to do that change. Would it be done by December or would it be done by?
oh yeah, they have to be done. There's liquidated damages. If they're not done by October 31st, then there's liquidated damages.
So then in my mind, there's no reason to spend the 25,000 to fix the booster or to put in new booster pumps. If that project is 30,000 or 40,000, we could take that 25,000 that we were going to spend on new booster pumps and put it into that project,
Yep.
and then it solves it all
Yeah.
forever, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite 25,000, it's 6 times 2,500, but
Oh, six.
the sentiment remains the same.
Yeah. Sorry.
So,
But Anthony's solution or the work that he's talking about is part of the, what's on the agenda for voting.
Right, what's on the,
So we,
Ballot.
what's on the ballot, so we won't know till June.
Sort of. So what's on the ballot is the closing of the loan, pay for it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's that
pay for it.
Loan for whoever from 2022, 1.75% interest to that amount for 30 years.
Yeah.
But if the contractor that gets the low bid agrees to piecemeal out pieces, because it's all broken up.
Yeah.
All the items are broken out. And if you wanted to have them just do those pieces and say, we need to wait to see how we're paying you for everything else, that would be up to you guys and the contractor would have to agree. But hopefully we'll have more than one contractor
So,
bid on it.
so
I
we,
know we'll have at least 2.
and when is the bid happening?
Here next month.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, it
in
just
May.
got out, so end of May.
Okay,
and the actual voting is June.
second,
Yeah, so why don't we just put this
yeah.
to delay it until the decision for this until the last meeting in June?
okay.
Yeah.
So we do have a motion to approve on the floor. So it sounds like what maybe a board decision here that's coming up is to table this until a June meeting. So let's go ahead and vote for the motion on the floor, which is the approval of the cost to replace the 6 remaining residential booster pumps. So all those in favor of the motion on the floor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Nay. Motion fails.
Yeah,
So would you like to make a motion to table, Linda?
yes, I'd make a motion to table this subject until the second meeting in June.
Second.
20 seconds.
Can I say what the idea is for the fundraiser? I mean. Just,
Yeah, let's go ahead, I guess go ahead and do it quick and then we'll move on.
because whether that gets voted down or up, the idea for the fundraiser for the larger booster, because that booster isn't covered under that particular loan. So we have to do it separate anyway. But I think we should have a dunk tank. And I'm asking people to volunteer to get dunked.
Or you could be first.
During the fair, I could be first. We could do the whole board. We could do ex-board members. Okay. No, Donna, you're exempt then. But anyway, so that's the idea.
All right, well, thanks, Trina. It's an interesting idea.
Mhm.
So the motion on the floor is motion to table items 8D. So all those in favor? Aye. Aye, motion carries. Thank you. On to item 8E, approve removal, testing / use of the chemicals. I believe those are the chemicals in the well pump houses.
Yep, yeah, it's Hawken Chemicals, it's cost for testing and removal is $400.
Okay.
I'd like to make that motion to approve that.
Aaron makes a motion to approve. Aaron seconds. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. On to item 8F, approve final payout, application number 6 for Conifer Construction of $14,921.20.
I make a motion that we approve the final payout for the application number 6 for Conifer.
I second with discussion.
Okay, Donna seconds. So it's item 8F in your packet.
So, this is the retainage. So let's put it. Okay, John, hang on, I'm just talking enough, saving questions. Okay. This is the retainage. So all the earned, I guess, bid quantities and items have been previously approved. And this is the 10% we hold back till the end. And so that's what he's requesting is a retainage. Some of the questions I'd urge you to ask are things like, what's the warranty periods on stuff? Because you're closing out a contract. He's still doing beautification, which is a separate budget. But this is the main contract for bringing that equipment here and installing it and commissioning. So, and we still also have a budget for Salzburg Knolls that we never used, that if we needed it to help us with integration of the control panel. The control panels were separately purchased. And so that's still there. I don't think we're gonna use that total budget because we had it in there that they would come here and physically and do that. So I know we're not gonna need that. But John's still working it out with the integrator. So that just, it's seamless integration of the different control panels, the ones we got in the purchase versus the ones that we built. And it's really revolving around backwashing. John, did you have anything to add on the backwashing integration?
William, the guy doing it, updated me Friday. And the last time I talked to him, I got him some information he needed and he said it helped a lot. So I'm hoping we get to update the program that backwash will happen more often than not. There's been, when we started this last year, the algae wasn't so bad, but the algae's up in all the lagoons, and so it's going to require more backwashing is all.
So, and then what is your warranty periods and how does that break down relative to building, mechanical, all that type of stuff?
Looking a year, I think that's general. The mechanical, I'd give it 90 days on that. I mean, some of it's, you know, a lot of it's used equipment, but, you know, I'm not worried about giving 90 days on that.
Alright.
No, also, for the town to know, I got, the last results I got as far as, the water going to Battle Creek, the total suspended solids was less than 4. That's under their detection limit. And then the DOD5 is another thing they watch us on. That's less than 3, so that's under their detection limit. The other one, dissolved oxygen, was around 7.5. It's kind of been running at that. We have 2. In the winter, we're allowed a minimum of 4 milligrams per liter or per million, however you want to say it, and then 5 in the summer, so we're well above that. And I did notice the ammonia has dropped way off. Now we only have to report that. If it's like it's only 0.5 parts per million, which is so those wheels are getting some biology going on them now, which was neat to see.
I guess to put that in perspective, like Apple Springs permit, I know, where it came from, it was 10,
Yeah.
10, 10, 1.6. And so we're getting, what'd you say, 4, 3, and 0.5?
They can't detect it, so they just call it less than 3 for VOD, less than 4 for PSS, so that's below their detection limit. And then dissolved oxygen is like around 7 to 8 is what's coming in at.
And we need it to be 5.
With 5 in the summer, 4 in the winter. Yep.
Okay, so thanks for the updates there, John. So let's get back to the motion on the floor to approve the final payout. Donna's hand was up first and then Aaron.
Yes, I believe at a meeting a week ago, we discussed security over at the lagoon. Well, the Tuesday night of the meeting, that treatment plant was wide open all night until 10 o'clock the next morning. Several people commented to me, and I seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah, I can speak on that. So what we did is we epoxied that floor with epoxy that has been turning out. They kind of say 8 hours, and then they say, well, 24 hours to dry. Well, I've been seeing it more like 30 hours, and I did not want to shut that door down onto that and then have it stick. And so we had all the cameras up and running, and I watched that multiple times. Now, any activity over there, I could see any that it'll pick up any movement, so I get notified also. So I left it open on purpose because I didn't want that to stick, but I did watch the cameras.
And no geese got into the plant, right?
No.
One was laying an egg next to
I
the,
was gonna say, do we have?
one
And I do
stayed
And
outside.
I do their kicks, so.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
But I think, the general public doesn't know this,
right.
so it brings up red flags.
Sure, and you've now asked the question and you can put the red flag down, tell those people that there was a very good reason. And that's good that we got watchers out there, Donna. I like that.
Well, I could see the big door, bright light coming out of it, my kitchen window.
And I left that light on too, so I could watch, because I know Anthony brought up, well, we don't want any animals in there and stuff. So I was like, leave the light on, those kind of things. We had left the other side open, Donna, a few weeks ago when I did the other side with the epoxy, same deal. And so, yeah, and, but I didn't watch it for everybody, to make sure nothing weird happened. So,
Thank you.
the cameras are great for security, but they also are nice for, me as operator, whoever operates it. It's really nice to watch things and see, things that are happening. It's a really great tool for the town. So, I appreciate that we were able to get cameras up. So,
Okay, thank you, John. Thank you, Donna. Aaron?
I have another question.
Okay, we'll come back to you after Aaron's question.
So, once this payout application is approved, this becomes our asset. I haven't heard anything about, a pre-receipt electrical inspection, building inspection. The warranty, we would want to see paperwork on that. So this last 10% is essentially the let's make sure we're getting what we paid for, hold on to it money. And I would want to see some inspections. And it would be nice to, if we still have that, beautification is not a good word. If we still have that going on, to let that also finish before we look at this. Yeah, I think we should postpone this until we are like driving a car off the lot, so to speak, knowing all the inspections have been done and it's warranted on paper. So I think we should hold on to this for now until we get that.
Okay, and do you have a recommended entity to perform the inspections?
Haven't researched it.
Okay.
John, do you have state inspectors that do the electrical on your,
yeah, I think usually they don't, I don't have a lot. Well, yeah, I could call someone.
that's what you should do is, I think you should call the state electrical inspector like we would normally do in the building in town, even though this is town infrastructure, so it's different.
Right.
It's still the same level of verification from the state. I hope they'll know what they're looking at, but
Right.
so let's do that and see what they say.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any, actually, Donna, we're back to you.
That was my concern, because I've had several people ask if it was completed or not. And I said, we have not been able to inspect it, because I know it has to go.
Okay, yeah, and thank you for bringing that up. So, sounds like, you guys are making, plans to get the electrical inspection done. Is there any other type of inspection that we should do from a third party to verify that the plant is fully finished and ready to go?
So, yeah, I think we should spell out what he needs to do. State inspector for electrical is typical. If we're doing this a commercial building, let's say it was the Dollar General or some commercial building in town, you'd have, so anything electrical, mechanical, that stuff is state inspector, and then the building official typically does structural stuff. But in this case, what we could do is we could just have we could have a commercial guy that just a private entity that does it. And that way it's an independent thing, company out of Rapid, and they come and they do that. And they'd also kind of overlook and see that the state inspectors have put their stickers on everything.
Okay. All right, so we have electrical state inspector and then a local commercial building inspector.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, do we have any further discussion on this one? We need to amend, Aaron?
And the final factor to tie on is, the contingency that, this is a town operated, facility, a town owned facility, but somebody else is working in it. The safety stuff, there should be some kind of a post inspection once all the safety rails and so on are in place, and it's, eye wash stations, fire extinguishers, all those magical things that they need us to have.
The
Isn't there
things
building-
we approved already.
Building inspection, I mean,
Building inspection, but then there's like workplace safety.
There's a, yeah, in the fire department. Oh, we just had fire inspection, fire detector, fire extinguishers, yeah, inspected just recently.
Okay. So then, once all the railings and everything are done.
Yeah.
Could the commercial building inspector take care of the safety aspect as well?
Yeah.
Can you think of anything else we need to inspect over there? Okay, so, do we have any further discussion?
So this is still just the basic approved, right? No.
No, we're still on the original.
I
motion to
think we
approve.
should do an amendment for contingency on inspection. So I'll make an amendment adding contingent upon receipt of complete inspections for electrical, building and safety
And written warrant.
and a written warranty.
are you
Okay.
seconding that then?
Yes.
So we have an amendment on the floor to add to, the final payout that is contingent upon, passing inspection, I would assume.
Yeah.
For the, electrical, mechanical and safety. In addition to provide a written warranty. Do we have any further?
So I know it's probably not gonna be a lot of money, that'd be in the hundreds of dollars,
Yeah.
but
For all
it's
of it.
probably better that the town pays that
Yes.
than the inspector, I'm sure John would do it, but then they gotta be working for him,
Yeah.
so this would make it
Mhm.
independent.
Okay,
Is that normal procedure?
Yeah.
Yeah, you normally don't have the builder also manage the inspection. We pipeline that directly.
So then we should be able to pick who we want to inspect it.
Correct.
And pay.
okay. So, sounds like we need to, amend this amendment to add, the town will pay for it, or do we need to do that? Or can we just, operate under the understanding since we're,
I think we can do
under
that.
discussion?
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. Not getting too cute on this one. So, motion to amend on the floor. Any further? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye, motion carries. Original motion now reads, approve final payout application number 6 for Confer Construction contingent upon, passing the inspection for electrical mechanical safety and provide a written warranty. All those in favor of the motion on the floor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Donna, you said aye, right?
Yeah.
Okay, motion carries. Very good. So we're done on water sewer departments. So thank you, John, and thank you, Anthony. So let's move on to, street light repairs. Streets, I'm still in discussion with, some entities, Dakota Asphalt and, Pennington County to see about them. Pennington County did their, initial inspection. And so they're gonna have, I think the supervisor come out and we can talk about some of the things they can do. We may need to do some work ahead of time to maximize the effectiveness of their oil and rock machine. So, and I'm still waiting to hear back from Dakota Asphalt, and so I reached out to them again today, and we'll hopefully talk to them again. So let's see, streetlight repairs. I didn't notice any streetlights out. Anybody notice anything? As they're driving around at night? Okay, very good. So let's move on to 10A, approve amended electricity license agreement for implementation and camera use with new location. Go ahead and make the motion to approve. We have a second.
Second.
Trina, second. So we do have that one in the packet. This, apparently the, original location did not have sufficient, either sufficient
Somebody
power.
else hooked up to somebody else's
Right.
power. so
Okay,
they
that's right.
Brought it in further so that it's on the cities.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Donna.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, So they need to move it, sounds like a little bit closer to town, is that right?
Yeah, and I think they're ready to go. I mean, they just need to know that we're ready, or okay, that they're ready to go.
Okay. Aaron, did you have something to add?
Yeah, in the time since we had that first meeting where this was discussed, there are a lot of citizens that, I don't know if anybody else has have made a point to come to me and question this, in regards to privacy concerns. So I don't know if maybe that's something we should, specifically give. I know we were looking at referring public comment to the end, but I know this is one thing that citizens have had a lot of comments they brought to me, and I didn't exactly memorize enough of those comments to be able to relay them to the board without citizen help.
All they're doing is taking a picture of the license plate. That's it. And then if something happens, then they can go back through. They're not gonna sit there and go back through it, but if they, something, progresses, then they'll go back through and see if they can see that like particular license plate. But they don't have people's names and nothing. If you have your license.
Linda?
So, Donna, what you're saying is that they're not gonna have immediate access. They can't watch
No, they can't.
in their office.
Right.
They can't watch every license plate that goes by, but considering if we had a high-speed chase, which we've had several, going down that road, they would then have the proof of that with the pictures of the license plates.
Well, and this is the state that's doing
It
it.
is state.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not somebody just.
It's a camera, excuse me, this.
Hold on. Yeah, I know. We're not taking public comment at this time, so, Aaron?
So the concern isn't what they're taking, it's some of again, the public can talk better, but one thing that was brought to me is that there have been instances with systems like this where they misidentified a license plate and ended up having somebody get in trouble, even people who had never even entered that state because of a couple of digits being misread by a automated system when trying to identify. So I'm just, I'm curious if we know anything about, are they using AI to interpret the license plates? Are they using a third party to host the data that can do what they want with it? There's just more details to things like this. How automated is it, I guess, is
Well,
probably
if
the
the
biggest
state
question.
wasn't pushing it, I'd say we.
There are some states that are outlawing it right now.
Okay, so, do we want to, table this pending further investigation, or what do we want to do, board? So we do have a motion on the floor to approve,
The division, South Dakota Divisional Criminal Investigation. Is who is the contact person.
Yeah.
okay, Linda, then Trina?
So I understand what they're saying. I get that. But I would think if that is happening, that their attorneys would fight the state's attorneys and say, this is happening in other states, this is, and the attorneys themselves would fight it out whether it could be admissible or not. I don't think that's something that Hermosa, I mean, that's not our choice. It is our choice whether we have it there or not. But the good, I think, in my opinion, the good would outweigh the bad. And like I said, it's not my, it would be a fight between the two attorneys, but not.
Okay, so do we have any further discussion on this one? Trina, you had your hand up?
I did. I just want to say that I've heard people having issues with it when it's a traffic violation on toll roads and things like that. And I don't know if AI is involved in that or not, but this is not that situation. This is for criminal investigation. That's the department. And we have had several high-speed chases through our town, and I think it's a safety issue, and I don't want to put it off. I want to make sure that they have what they need to handle the cases.
Okay, Linda, then Aaron?
Was this approved, Donna, by, Bruce at the state DOT?
No, we got this guy's review. He's the
Okay.
one that called.
So maybe we could approve this with a call to Bruce in Custer to make sure that, that he knows who's doing it and that he believes it's okay. Not that, I mean, he's not.
State of South Dakota Division of Criminal Investigation,
Mhm.
Office of Attorney General.
Marty Jeffrey.
Okay, Aaron.
I
So-
mean, I can call him again. He's a very nice guy.
Well,
And, I honestly, Terry talked to him too. I don't see, I guess I don't understand where everybody's coming from.
I mean, I don't really have a problem with it, but Aaron, did you have something you wanted to do there?
So some pointed questions that I know specifically I've been asked related to concerns. Is access limited to in-state agencies? Is it only agencies within South Dakota that are able to access this data? Is
That's my
data
understanding.
is data observation automated, or is it they go back and physically look through? These are some simple questions that the citizens I think would want to know. As far as
He said he'd come out and present it if we wanted him to.
that would be probably awesome.
Should we just let this motion fail, motion to table pending presentation by, would it be this guy in the email, Donna?
His name is Preston Patterson.
Preston Patterson. So I guess what we'll do, let's vote and we'll do motion to table until Mr. Patterson can come out and present. Is that what everyone like to do here?
I think we're making more out of it than it really is, but.
Okay, so all those in favor of approving? I mean, I was in favor of approving too, but,
I'm gonna say aye.
so, okay, we got 2 ayes. All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. We got 1 nay.
I voted aye.
Oh, you voted aye? Oh, sorry. Okay, 1 nay. Are you abstaining? Linda?
I'm abstaining, yes.
Okay, so,
I am going to put a call into Bruce tomorrow just to make sure.
okay,
Personally, I want to know. So,
okay, well, would you like to take the list of Aaron's concerns there and ask him for the citizens?
my guess is that he would not be able to answer some of those questions. I just want to, personally, it's me. I just want to legitimize the person that's asking the questions and the department itself.
Okay, all right,
There is so much fraud these days that I just think it's safe.
okay, all right.
I don't think it's.
You know.
Yeah, so motion carries. So on to 11A. So I'm gonna shut this window back here real quick.
It hasn't cooled off.
Okay, so 11A, discussion of purpose for TIF2 district. I think we discussed that a little bit earlier. I don't know if we need to talk about that too much more, but basically the purpose was to address, an underdeveloped area and provide developers a means by which they can help to fund infrastructure. I mean, it's pretty much the boilerplate reason why people do TIFs, but would anyone like to add anything else, or would you like to just move on, Aaron?
There are some things that should be made aware as far as the TIF is concerned. It was looked at by the Department of Revenue on the current TIF resolution. They found some issues in it. The value exceeds the 10% limit. There are some conflicts between the list of parcels on the TIF and the list of parcels on the project plan, so there's some inconsistencies there. So at the very least, kind of regardless of how the referendum goes, it still actually needs to be amended. So those are things of note. What's going on in the district? No spoilers.
Okay, do we have anybody else would like to add to that? Okay, seeing none, let's just move right along. Did you have something to add, Anthony?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, I
don't know where the owners of the property stand on this TIF anymore, because it was supposed to be a land purchase that was gonna involve between the, Hermosa Hills and the investor. And when it got referred, that land purchase didn't close,
Yeah.
as far as I can tell. So I've been talking to John Preston mostly, who was kind of in charge of that. And so, I mean, if that investor's gone, then you should engage with the current owners of the property to see, do they want it? Do they want it to be something else? Put the sewer line and pay for it a different way, like special assessment, for example. It's their property, right? So, things have changed.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, that's my understanding all along, even when I was sitting in the audience, was that the TIF was a special developer TIF, and because it went to vote, we knew that we might lose that developer. And so this is kind of an expected situation that we're in. It doesn't mean that if the voters vote for the TIF, there'll have to be amendments made to it, and we'll have to work something out if we can, and then if we can't, we can't. But it's a lost opportunity.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. So let's move right along to claims. Item 12A is in your packet. So does anybody see anything they would like to take issue with or anything, or just make a motion to approve?
Just that the payment number 5 is also in the claims, so do we need to do anything as far as tying that to our contingencies in the claims?
It probably wouldn't hurt just to put a bow on it like that. So would you like to make that motion?
We'll look through the rest.
Are you talking to Congress?
WWTP payments.
That was the payment we made that was approved at the last meeting, and it's just showing up on the claims. So it was listed on the
Oh,
agenda.
okay.
You guys approved it, we paid it, now it shows up on the claims. This one that you approved tonight is not included in any of those claims.
Thank you.
Because it had to be approved before we could pay it.
It was like 14,921 or something like that.
Yeah, that's the 10%, the other one was 13, yeah, so it's not the one you just talked about.
Well, thanks for that,
Yeah.
Terry. Appreciate that. So do we have any other claims on there that we need to do anything with? Don't see any. I'll just go ahead and make a motion to approve the claims as presented.
Second.
3 seconds. Do we need any further discussion on this? You want to take a minute to look them over again? Just take a quick minute here. Okay, Linda?
I just noticed the tank rental. How much does it cost to buy one of those, and would it save the town money in the long run?
Several dollars.
Yeah, I'm sure it is several dollars, but,
That's not a bad month for a tank
and is that,
That's annual.
annual.
okay,
Wait, once a year.
Okay.
yeah, that's not bad.
Okay, any further questions? Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
I,
Aye, motion carries. Very good. On to finance office. Terry.
So you have the financials provided in the packet. Right there, you get those?
Nice job.
Okay, they have this one.
Okay.
As far as the department updates, so a couple meetings ago, we asked about doing a seasonal sales tax with that new, HB 1245, I think, was
Yeah.
the bill that was passed. So I did reach out to Department of Revenue, did finally get a response back. They of course won't. Because those taxes go into effect either July 1 or January 1. So it kind of doesn't really work with your tourists. I mean, I get what you guys are trying to do, but it's July 1 that's already into your tourist season. So I did reach out to Scott and asked him, and he said he thinks it's kind of problematic too, because of those implementation dates. So I don't know that we would be able to do that.
Thanks for looking into that.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's see here, annual
Yeah.
report.
so we have the annual report done, that's in your packet. And then that'll have to be, once you approve it, it'll be advertised in the Custer Chronicle. Basically, the 2025, where we started, plus our revenues, less our expenses, and where we ended.
Okay. Thank you for that, Terry.
Mhm.
So on to item 13D, approve registration fee for finance officer and administrative assistant to attend budget training in Rapid City on June 17th, 2026. There is a $80 registration cost, and we need to approve the closure of the town office from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. to allow staff to attend. Go ahead.
I
Make
would-
the motion to
I'll
approve.
second that motion.
Linda seconds. Terry, did you want to add anything to that?
This is just a good opportunity for me to take Briley with me, because I want her to be involved in the budget this summer, and it's just in Rapid. I realized there wouldn't be anybody here, so that's why I'm asking to close the office to just, it was like 6 hours, but yeah, it's a good opportunity for both of us.
Okay, well, thank you, Terry. Do we have any other questions for Terry? Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Very good. On to 13E, approve rehire of Vonda for the town office cleaner position at a rate of $17, effective 4/29/2026. So that will be tomorrow. Go ahead and make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Trina seconds. Do we have any further discussion on this one? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. On to 14A, approve the new town logo budget from BBB funds. I believe that was your.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we would approve the town logo budget from the BBB funds for up to $900. I'm gonna request a seal and then a rectangular logo. I'm hoping to get 3 different things, but at a minimum, those 2 things in digital format, colored, with resolution that's suitable for.
Okay, let's. see
Oh,
if we
sorry,
got-
sorry,
yeah,
I got.
let's see if we got a second on that one. Do we have a second? Okay, no second. Looks like the motion fails.
All right.
Aaron?
We did talk about it before. I don't know how much we talked about it. I really like the idea of the citizens being able to present like a number of them. I don't know if that's,
Well, that's, sorry.
Linda?
and then we can, we can,
I think that,
because 900,
we need to look at it further.
That sounds fine.
I would agree with that.
and it's only because the technology now, I mean,
I know you can make it
anybody
yourself.
can make just about, I mean, you can make a 2-hour, well, a few months away, you'll be able to make a 2-hour movie without having to pay a dime, and it'll be whatever you want to watch for 2 hours. Yeah, I just feel like there's probably people who could come up with some really creative things and kind of,
Yeah, might be.
and we could have something to put some positivity into a discussion about what's the coolest logo that we got submitted to us.
Okay, so do we need to do any planning on that or anything? And by the way, Trina, thanks for spearheading this idea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great idea. Um,
What kind of time frame should we put on
There's that work session well, that's not very far.
It's not destitute, are we, to just handle like tomorrow?
no. So, so this motion failed, so it's technically off the agenda. So if we want to, I guess we can.
We can decide, we can
yeah,
think
just
about
put
it. and
something
put
else on the agenda for a
Yeah.
future meeting, and then we can discuss it then.
Yep.
I think that's a good idea. We can move on. It's not too late, I guess, almost
figure out the
8:15.
time frame? What a good time frame would be.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get that added to a future agenda to see if, how we want to approach that. So, and also too, if you guys out there have any ideas, please, on how you'd like to proceed with this, please, um, send Terry an email and let her know, or you can send me an email at boardpresident@hermosasd.com. You can send an email to anyone on the board. It's not a big secret or nothing, but, okay, let's move on to 15A, the pet vaccination waiver. And I see,
I have something to say. Can I add to this at this time?
add to,
It has to do with pets.
Well,
okay,
let's make the motion to talk about it.
yeah, so, I mean, it's
What should-
technically not on the agenda item,
Well, I know it isn't.
so,
It kind of goes, I mean, it's pet.
yeah, is it some, I mean, it's not anything we can take, action on tonight anyways. Would you like to just mention it at trustee input? Okay. Let's just do that, and we can keep moving right along if you don't mind, Donna. All right, thank you. So new business for tonight, pet vaccination waiver with, Bonnie. I see Bonnie and Summer out there. So, would either one of you like to come to the podium and present your agenda item, please?
Thanks for hearing us. So I wrote a letter. Yeah, we're not gonna vaccinate our dogs. And the reason is they've been vaccinated once, and the immune system created by God knows the enemies. So they don't really need to be vaccinated again. And we've looked up some of the ingredients, and so one of the ingredients is called gentamicin, which is a nephrotoxin and a neurotoxin, which means it poisons your kidneys and your brain. I don't think my dog should have to live with that. There's definitely mercury and aluminum, and that's common in all vaccines, and those are also poisons. And so we would like you just to please agree with that. Our pets are already paid for in license, so we don't see why we should have to poison them. I mean, South Dakota does not have a rabies vaccination law. And that's my case.
Okay, did you have a question for, Summer? Aaron?
Yeah, well, one thought I would have is, are they primarily inside animals anyway, or are
They
they,
have a fence.
they have a fence, so they're not out there
Yeah.
on adventures in the Black Hills looking for things that,
Chances are they're not going to bite you.
and this may be one of those, yeah, there are no statewide requirements, why we particularly have their requirements when an area like Hermosa is probably much less likely to have like a rabies invasion than like up in the hills or anywhere where in a more wooded area. We don't really have those kinds of critters, right? So I don't. Do we have a motion on the floor?
No, we have no motion on the floor. right
I'll
now.
make a motion to waive the vaccination requirement.
Aaron makes the motion to waive. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Donna seconds. Okay, any further discussion on this one? Linda?
The only concern I have, is, I don't know if anybody else in town has smelled the skunks at night, but we definitely have a skunk at night. And I have not an issue, I'm with you, I don't want to vaccinate my dogs either. But I also don't want them to get rabies.
Well, I don't want to trade my freedom for safety or convenience. I mean, I don't think 10 people maybe in a year will die of rabies. It's not even a problem. Like, there's no,
And they're inside at night.
they are, we lock them in sometime between 8 and 9 every night.
I'm good with it.
Okay, do we have
Thank you.
any further discussion on this one? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Donna, did you vote aye?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we got 4 ayes and 1 abstention, so motion carries. Thank you. On to the, first reading of 2078A supplemental 2026 appropriations ordinance. Go ahead and read that real quick. So the purpose of this is to move 27,000 from the law enforcement budget to the legal budget. So go ahead and do the first reading. Town of Hermosa, ordinance number 2078A, supplemental appropriation ordinance. Be it ordained by the town of Hermosa that the following sums are supplementally appropriated to meet obligations of the municipality. Under expenditures in item 41, 410, legal, professional fees, into the general fund of $27,000. And for item 42-100, law enforcement, we are taking out of general fund into law enforcement of $27,000 for a net difference in the general fund of zero. The following designates the funds or fund or funds to which the money derived from the following sources applied. We have revenue, source of funding, unassigned fund balance, and total means of finance all zeroed out, dated. So we will not read that yet because we're just doing the first reading. So we'll look to have that on another agenda. And then if we do end up having to make any changes, we'll let you know before that. Okay, so thank you very much there. So we're on to item 15C, address the barking dog complaints. And
Well, my opinion on addressing barking dogs is we need to send them a certified letter.
okay,
You know, it's happening, and I can name a couple other places probably that it is also, but nobody's complained about that. But we do have 2 complaints that we had mailed into or stopped in the office. And so I think the only way to handle the situation is in a certified letter.
okay. Do we have a copy of we don't have a copy of the complaints in the packet.
Yeah, the one, I don't. No, I don't, because I really.
So
Really, I talked about it, and, so I just, you know, I just think that's the way to handle it,
yeah, so you and Linda are code enforcement,
yeah.
right? So I'm okay with, I guess, letting the committee draft a letter and bringing it to the board. I mean, is that something we can do?
Well, I think we should get it handled Del Pronto.
Okay. And do we have confirmation that the complaints are valid as well? Is that actually, I think before we send a letter, don't we have to make the determination of the validity of the complaint
Yes,
to the board first?
that has to be done, yes.
They were sent to you.
So I think that's,
You about,
Yeah, I
You-
got, yeah.
I got the complaint from you.
One was over the phone, because he complained May 4, he said, and then 2 were on paper.
okay.
2 of them were on paper, yeah.
The one has been an ongoing situation.
Okay, so could we as a board view the complaints offline and then come together at the next meeting to make a determination of the validity of the complaint before we send a letter out? Is that okay with everybody? Linda?
Terry, I think these types of letters have been sent before. Do you have any copies that you can?
I'm sure we could find them.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So when you guys get a chance,
Send you
please,
complaints and the copy of a previous letter.
right, yeah, please send those out to us and we'll review those. Okay, looks like,
So then do we have to wait until the next meeting before we can send these letters out or what?
so the idea being that, you know, we as a board make a determination of the validity of the complaints. And then after that, then we can take an action for the ordinances. So, but thank you for taking spearheading that.
I mean, the one, you know, I don't know the other people, so I haven't went over by there, but
Okay,
Our next meeting is next week.
right.
yeah, she's got
After that.
yeah.
Okay, so on to item 15D. Does anyone see any reason why we can't do a blanket approval on these?
Legally, is that a problem, Terry?
Nope.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make the motion. We approve all the retail, malt beverage and wine license renewals.
I'll second that.
Okay, Linda seconds. Do we have any discussion on that? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
I abstain.
Oh, okay, sorry. Thanks for that. We have 4 ayes, 1 abstention. Um, Okay, on to 15E, request from Hermosa Connects for triple B funds to help with flower pots around the town.
I'll
Aaron,
make that motion to approve what was the budget?
Flower pots.
So,
There's a budget. I forget what you told me the budget was. About how much they spend
We figure it's gonna cost around 800 for the plants.
800.
with a budget of 800.
Okay, approved. Aaron makes the motion to approve for $800. Donna seconds. Do we have any further discussion on that one? Linda?
How many flower pots are they and where are they?
We got a lot of bog naps for the winter, we're still in there. And we think we got close to 30 of them. We'll have to replace 2 or 3 of them that are all broke up.
So who all gets them?
Store gets to the post office, gets one. They get some up here at Vintage, Dollar General, Lazy Hour, Trails West, Coffee Shop, churches.
Just
Pete, let's Pizza gets all.
I get one.
we have a list. We should put them all.
Yeah, Nancy gave us a list of how many each one had. I think there's right at 30 plants, maybe 30.
They do have a pot, you know, it's
Okay.
big.
Yeah, they're
All right,
town beautification.
so are we all good on that one then? All right, thank you. So any further comments, questions?
You
Seeing-
want us to turn in the bill and go from there and just make maximum of $800? Because,
So can you guys please come to the podium just to maintain formality here, please?
Thank
Thank you for that. Linda, did you have a question?
I would like to see the bills, rather than just giving you $800. I would like to see the bills from the flower shops or whatever, pots, soil, fertilizer, whatever is needed. Yes, absolutely.
Nancy said she spent about 600 last year, and everybody I talked to said it was getting something about 20% across the board.
Yeah, pretty much.
We do need receipts too. This is
Yes,
special
receipts, and, yeah.
Okay.
problems. If anybody asks, we want BBB covered.
All right,
Yeah.
do we have any more questions for Dan? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. So review the updated water and sewer resolutions. Have those in here. Have them in there. So let's go ahead. Y'all good with tabling this until the next meeting?
Yes.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to table.
second,
Trina seconds. All those in favor? Aye, motion carries. Very good. Okay, on to items from constituents. As I asked earlier, anybody that wishes to address the board, please raise your hand and come to the podium before making your comments. Deb?
Deborah Anderson, and I just have a question in regards to, earlier about the motion to terminate access of town of Hermosa property and resources to Black Hills Recovery Network LLC. My question is regarding Linda. Are you a sitting member of the board of directors for Black Hills Recovery LLC?
Yes, I am.
And you're a sitting board member, of course, here for the board of trustees for the town of Hermosa. How are you able to vote? Is that not a conflict of interest? You sitting on both boards?
I guess it possibly could be looked at like that.
So it is a conflict of interest?
It possibly could be looked at like that. I think it's a nonprofit. I don't make any money from it. I am not none of us are paid. We volunteer our time. It is a project that the governor asked for. We delivered. And I personally, if you would like me, and if the citizens would like me to not vote on those things, I would do that. But I don't feel like I am conflicted at all in it.
Clearly, because you did vote.
I did vote, but I don't feel like I am conflicted about it. I think when I am sitting in this chair, I feel like the votes that I make are exactly how I feel it should be for the town's best interest, not for that. When I'm in that meeting, a couple of times a year, I make the motions that I feel are the best for that particular
So
item.
it is a direct conflict of interest then.
If that's how you see it.
I do see it that way.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anybody else who'd like to address the board? Connie, please come up.
Hello, Limer. I've got a question on the Heartland hair cleaning out of the drain over there. I personally put in 2 complaints to this town, starting back in 2024 with plugged sewer lines on Manning Street. I've been promised that those are gonna get fixed and nothing is ever done about it. The people that were working for, I suppose, Anthony, were actually in the manholes at the corner of Third and Manning when I was trying to move my vehicle, and they were horrified at what they found in there. And they didn't have, I didn't ask them, they were telling me. But there's a solid plug going east. So everything from the west that's brushing down is back flowing back into the manhole, and then it's going downhill to Shannon's and filling up her lift station. So she's burning through pumps. Her electric bill is high, but it's because she's not only pumping her own, she's pumping everything that's running back downhill because it's all downhill. But it can't go east. So I don't know where the back truck's at. I don't know what the process is gonna be, but we got serious problem on Manning Street.
Okay. Trina, did you have a question?
Connie, you had mentioned it before. Was that one of those lines that ceramic?
Yes,
Did
it's the
they
old
decide that
old
it's the
type.
ceramic?
Yeah,
So,
back in the 50s.
yeah.
That whole lower end of town, we seem to be able to move $27,000 out of our law enforcement fund to put into a legal fund, but nobody can ever find any money to fix the old part of town. When they put full pressure to these lines, when they get stuff pressure going, they're gonna have a disaster down there. And it really seriously needs, Jones is bad, Linda's is bad, there's other people on the streets that are bad. It needs dealt with before we have got a river of SHIT running everywhere. It's gonna be bad. But right now, it can't go any further east than the lot between Bouchard's and myself. He said it's plugged solid. Nothing to go through. It's always been a problem right there. All of the years that they've cambered it, it's been a problem, and he said nothing is gonna go through that.
Can you restate where you think the plug is at again?
He said it was about 100 foot from the Manning's, the manhole at the stop sign right by the driveway there on Third and Manning. Going east, which would put it right at Dan's lot next to me, by the lilac bushes that are in the city right away. I'm sure it's roots and there's probably missing tile. It's a disaster,
Okay, all right,
but Shannon's got a big problem.
right. So is that something that we can check out there?
Yeah, so she's referring to the inspectors, the national inspectors that were inspecting the sewer pipe. So what I'll do is I'll bring the PACP inspection report with the pipe profile and everything that our camera determined is in there. We'll look at it, and then the board wants to get something immediate in there to get that line cleaned out, then we'll know from where to where. We do that from the inspection report. That's all part of the grant.
Well, back in the day when everybody said it was my vent pipes causing the problem, and everybody came flying into my driveway because it was my pipes, my vents. Well, I proved that it wasn't. But that manhole at that time is missing a flap. So like when Shannon stuff gets pumped up the hill, dumps in there, the flap should shut so that nothing runs back downhill. It doesn't have it. You told me it wasn't there, and
Yeah, it's not check. It's a check valve. That has something to do with the private system, but we're hoping that the gravity line that we're designing along Whitney Street will eliminate that station. So
as to how many years out is that? Really? She's been through what, 3 pumps already, so.
Brandon, did you have a question for Connie?
Well, I just wanted to know which grant, you, the current brick
All
grant.
that inspection work under the team grant.
Oh, great.
Okay, all right, did you have anything
I
else?
was kind of hoping that we had like a timeline that we can at least get Manning Street blown out so that all of them, the Manning hole, the hole by Mindy's house is only a 6-inch line. 6-inch sewer line for all the people to the west going through that. It's not big enough.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Manning Street up and going because people are gonna keep developing up there. And if Chuck and Donna's start getting more houses built there, then all that's gonna be going back to Haunted Week. It's gonna be a disaster.
Okay, well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Is there anybody else who would like to address the board? Dan, please come up here.
Thank you, Dan Halsworth. I just want to remind everybody why our loan is so important. That's coming up on the referendum, that it's for the independence of Hermosa. And that's our WRT radium. That's our well for a tower that's being built. That's for our infrastructure developments. And it's huge on that aspect. So we need to keep our independence. And that is how we do our independence, is through that. I also want to comment on the DCI camera. How other communities have benefited from that. Donna was 100% correct. And what they use it for is also tracking murderers, DUIs, burglars, stolen vehicles, kidnappings, drugs. Generally, the attorney generals are all supporting everything involved in this camera situation for the DCI. So it's a biggie. The tip, if that isn't going to become a reality, I mean, that was a good thing for getting a sewer line down and help that area, get it all developed. And I think that tip is huge on that aspect, not to mention the future business. The car wash is still hopefully a reality along with the strip mall. That's where the hardware store was, everything else that could be developed along with more housing, everything else situated in that area. So also, when you're looking at that booster, and that's always a hard subject, but there was the ability to add to the sales tax for that project too, and your market for that, so that a person can pay for that. And I always remind you on all these ordinance complaints, whatever we have, follow our complaint ordinances and verify. Getting a lot of people got in trouble when they didn't follow the rule of order on that. So I do. The times are coming, we've got a lot of abatements out there that should be handled. So thank you for a very constructive meeting tonight.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to address the board? Kelly, please come up.
The only thing I want to comment about is the Custer Chronicle. All these minutes are recorded, so I believe whatever is in the Custer Chronicle is pretty accurate.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there any further comment? Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, so let's move on to trustee input. Would anyone like to begin? Donna?
Yeah, I just want to, I don't know what, it should have been on the agenda, but it wasn't. But I do have a citizen that has 2 companion dogs, and they are in the house at all times, and she is wondering if she wants to license them.
Okay. Okay, so probably something we need to put on the agenda to look at for one of these upcoming meetings. Okay. All right, can we put that on our proposed agenda for next week, Terry?
Yep.
All right, thank you. I guess I'll go next. So I do want to just apologize for my involvement in what happened last week. I know that while Aaron was trying to give his statement on the thing, I was interrupting him and I shouldn't have done that. And I wanted to apologize. Also like to apologize for, my letter in the newsletter that actually, was the genesis for that whole situation. And so, I'd just like to, extend my apology to both Aaron and the town for my involvement in that. And so that's it for me. So anybody else like to do trustee input? Trina?
I think sometimes we've gotten away from holding business meetings where public comment is held to the section where it's supposed to be at, because we do appreciate the input, but that's the standard practice for business meetings. And that's why we have public meetings that are set up and structured differently, and that is provides public comment throughout. So I appreciate that we're doing the more standard business meeting agenda, even though I'm missing some public comment. But we do have that break in there, and if people want to talk to us, then I really appreciate doing this, so we're not here super late. I have a full-time job, and this is my second full-time job, which I really am enjoying, being on the board, getting opportunities to vote on things is a privilege, and I appreciate that. Also, the ordinance for dogs barking, it needs to be updated, because we don't have somebody that's coming in as a marshal or able to address them in a timely manner, and there's no room in that ordinance for that. So that's one of the next ordinances that I'm gonna bring up for change.
Donna, did you have something?
Yes, I realize citizen input takes more time. But also, as a board, we need to understand, these are the people that we're representing. We need to hear what they have to say. And if they don't say it at the time that the subject is brought up, then it probably doesn't get said from their mouths. And like I said, we're running their town for them, and they should have input on items.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Aaron?
I'll actually spin right off that, not as a rebuttal, but just as information that's been brought to me. One of the things the Open Meetings Commission is looking at, and the legislature as a whole, is changes to the open meetings that may require public input to be moved to the very beginning of every meeting, essentially forcing the citizens' concerns to come before anything is discussed. That's being very seriously looked at in legislature right now. So the people you need to call are the people who have fancy offices in Pier. But if you want to give your opinions on that, there were some mentions of other people tonight that didn't really have an opportunity to rebut, which is kind of a part of the conversation that was going on, which is odd. We need to really not have these public meetings be discussions about people, really ever, because people, the business we do is for the people, not and by the people and of the people, but not about the people. So I think it'd be better if we didn't talk about people in the meetings, if we have any opportunity to avoid it. But I will say that I do appreciate Trustee Kunz's apology. We can move on. We've gotten through things. We'll move on.
Okay. Linda, did you have anything?
Yeah, sure. I would like to thank the public for the meeting tonight. I'm sure that at times it was very hard to not speak up. I appreciate that you didn't. I appreciate the fact that we could all hear. There was very few times that I could not hear what was being said, and I truly do appreciate that. I appreciate you for your apology. Thank you for that very much. Okay. I would like to say that I'm looking forward to some of these discussions in our work sessions and what we can do for these issues. And you're right, the dog ordinance does need to be revisited. I can say that my dogs bark, but at the same time, when people are coming right near the fence of my yard, causing my dogs to bark, I mean, what am I to do about that? And what about that skunk that comes to my yard and my dogs don't like it? I've been lucky enough so far that they haven't been sprayed, but I expected any night when I open the door to open it up and say, oh, and slam the door shut. So, I get that. I also don't like them just barking constantly either for no reason. And, so I can see both sides of that issue. Connie mentioned that, about Manning Street and I can honestly say that I have had no problems with sewer backup. My husband and I replaced our sewer, our line, from the property line in a few years ago. We did that ourselves. My husband, I know everybody thinks we're crazy. He dug it up by hand himself. Not many people do that anymore. My husband is a firm believer that if I can do it, I better do it because I don't want to lose being able to do anything. And that's why he did it himself and did not pay Chuck or any other person to do that work. And I appreciate him for that. But I have not had any issues of it backing up or smell or anything at my house. And but yes, that is an issue that needs to be looked at. On that note, thank you again all. We very much appreciate it.
Okay, I don't think we need to do an executive session.
No.
So, I'll go ahead and make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Trina at
8:43.
8:43. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Be bored. Yeah. That's a.